Survivor specialist Phil and Alexa are back with another one of our season 39 tell-alls, and today we are joined by Elaine Stott, who is continuing the trend of putting up her Twitter handle. Everybody go follow her. Elaine was not logged into Twitter before this. Don't mean to rat you out like that, Elaine, but I had to
Twitter maniac, Elaine.
No, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I told you that's why we had to convo a few minutes early to get it all lined out. So
Exactly. So we found out that she wasn't logged in, and it was Hunter who had to come up and save the day.
Don't say that, because now he's gonna have the big head, and like I'm gonna hear it.
There was a dog. There were like 7 people helping her out. It was a mess.
I loved every second of it though, and I know Hunter is probably sitting right next to you right now, just smiling at you like, yeah, that's right away.
Yeah, patting himself on the back. Yeah,
I got all the credit here. That's
exactly.
it. But we are, so now Elaine is following up the Missy tell-all we had. We started off with 2 Vocais, and now we're coming in with 2 Lyros. Elaine, you're only our 2nd Lyro, but you're the highest finishing Lyro we've had on thus far. So how does that feel?
True. Just my man Dean's ahead of me. That's it.
That's the only one, and I don't know. Maybe we have Dean lined up soon. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that one day. You know, DK chilling. But this isn't about DK chilling. This is about Elaine Stott. This is ES chilling. So.
Oh, God. TSES chilling.
Yeah, I can't handle none of that. That's so lame, dude. That's so lame.
What? Okay, so we won't talk about nicknames. We won't do any of that. You know, we won't go through the fact that you have a shirt that says "Busted Can of Biscuits" on it or whatever that Lauren got you. We won't be doing this, but I want to get into all of Elaine's game, because early on we're being told right away, like, Elaine is who every fan's going to be rooting for. This is our fan favorite of the season. This is what's going to be going on. But then there was some serious game going on, because I think there were some parts where it was like you would kind of play stuff up, and then when you got to Ponderosa, you're like, no, I knew what that meant. I knew what was going on. But I want to hear what was going on in the mind of Elaine in these next however long. I'm ready.
Yeah, well, in the very, very beginning, like from the jump, me, Tom, and Vince was working. And even when you're working and you're away from camp, it's not a good thing. So the 7 that was back at camp, they decided that we were already on the outs from that. And then I guess just from the relationships that the other people had built, and as I'm super funny, I reckon they were like, yo, Ronnie pegged me as, Elaine can win the whole thing. And then Aaron jumped on that gravy train. And then it was like a nightmare from then on. Like it was a nightmare. I could never break that stigma of like, yo, Elaine's going to win this thing.
So this was instantaneous.
Yeah, it really was. I think the first day, it maybe wasn't the first day, but it probably was the first day. Whenever they had a few things that was out of sequence, like when me and Ronnie had the conversation, and the famous those were actually out of sequence. And what really happened, me and Ronnie had that conversation, and I was good. I was cool with Ronnie. Like, me and him we do have a lot in common. Like, even though I'm a redneck from the KY, I grew up in South Florida. I've had a roughneck life. You know what I'm saying? And Ronnie had a lot of that too. So we had a lot in common. And so when we talked on the beach, that was all genuine. It was all real. And at that point, we were cool. It was like, you tell me, I'll tell you if somebody says whatever. Flash forward, I can't tell you the timeline as far as like hours go, but later on, what was the next day? So we're at the well, and it's me and a couple girls. And I know Missy, Elizabeth, and I'm pretty sure Chelsea was there, and Ronnie's pouring water. And we got to looking, and somebody had been digging like a crazy person around the well. I mean, it was just dug up. They had a backhoe out there working. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was just dig spots everywhere, right? And I was like, yo, like, somebody's been digging at the well. Like, what's going on? Well, Ronnie just kept on pouring water. So we talked about it for a minute, and like 5 minutes passed. And then all of a sudden, Ronnie's like, well, somebody was digging at the well, but it wasn't me. And I was like,
oh, God,
that's kind of weird, And then I thought, I didn't say nothing. We all just looked at each other. And then he's like, yeah, it wasn't me. I just want you to know it wasn't me. Mm-hmm. So
guess who didn't just fart in this room? It wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. So later on, me and Ronnie go for a walk, and I was like, yo, Ronnie, was you digging at the well? Like, was that you digging at the well? And he got all defensive and was like, what? And when he got defensive, it kind of sketched me out, because I thought, why is he being super defensive? Like, what's going on with this? Well, he left and went and talked to whoever he talked to, and I went left and went and talked to whoever I talked to. Well, when I got back and talked with Big Tom, he's like, yo, Ronnie's telling everybody that you're telling people that he was digging at the well. And I was like, what? I was like, that's not You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a miscommunication. Like he was super defensive. I felt super sketchy because he was defensive. And so it was kind of like, all right, I'm against them. You see what I mean? So after that point, then my name started getting thrown out more and more and more. And then what helped me out is Ronnie himself. Like people felt a little shady because the girls were there too at the well incident. So like they're like, yeah, that kind of sounds weird. Like, why would you? And later on, after the game was over, I found out it was actually Aaron. And Ronnie knew it was Aaron that was digging at the well. He wasn't trying to rat Aaron out, but he didn't want people to think it was him. So literally, it was like a miscommunication between me and him.
Oh, poor Ronnie.
It just became this battle between me and him. And they didn't show it. But when I go up to Aaron and them, whenever he's playing Godfather and kicking his feet, and, like whatever, I was like, I just went straight up to him. I was like, yo, what's going on? Because people usually shut up when you come around. And I just wanted to put it on the table, like, let's talk. And they were like, well, would you vote? And I was like, hell yeah, tell me a name. Like, all right. I didn't mean I was going to, but I was saying yes to anything they were saying. Well, later on, me and Ronnie go and have a talk. And I was like, why are you coming after me? And he's like, you're coming after. I was like, Ronnie, I'm not. Like, so me and him kind of squashed it. So that helped with throwing him off the trail if we was actually voting him out.
Yeah.
So like, it was a big misunderstanding, basically, which is the funny thing about it.
When you had that conversation with Ronnie, that last one, did you like still plan to vote him out during that whole conversation?
Yeah. Because everybody was already talking about it. I mean, you never know what people, they could tell you whatever. You never know what people's actually going to do till you go write down a name. So people were saying, no, we're not voting you, Elaine. Don't worry. He's being super sketchy, this, and this. And so when I went and talked to him, I was just trying to get him off my back. So we go to tribal, and we had went on this back trail that a secret trail. I don't know. We wasn't supposed to go, but they couldn't tell us no, we couldn't. And it was like a whole nother island. You go up these stairs and go across this thing onto a whole nother island. Well, Aaron and Ronnie went to the far point on it, and nobody went with them. And they came back. And when they came back, they were being super sketchy to me. I was like, they were like, yo, there's so many crabs out here. Don't worry. We got it covered. We'll come over here. We'll get the crabs and we'll do this. And I was like, these boys ain't volunteered for this much work. And I couldn't tell you how long. There's something over here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was like, yo, I wonder if they found something. Like, I wonder what's going on. So when we went into tribal, I was nervous that Ronnie or one of them had an idol. Ronnie or Aaron had an idol. So my thing is like, dude, I'm going to make this dude think I think I'm going home. Because if he feels comfortable and he has one, he's not going to play it. You know what I mean? So like, that's part of the reason why I was so emotional. And the other part is I came in it with so much baggage. You know, I just lost my mom. So the thought of like going home after going through all of that, like it was devastating me and I just couldn't get past it. You know what I mean? Like it was hard. And y'all ain't never been to tribal. When you go to tribal, Jeff just brings that shit out and he won't let you not bring it out. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like, it was so emotional, but I kind of knew, but I wasn't certain that I wasn't going. You know what I mean? So.
And then you ended up getting no votes. They ended up putting the votes on Vince instead of you. So that's what I was going to say. Like, you're saying you kind of knew, but you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you never know. Like, people can promise you, their house and the kids. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. So, like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm banking on it. And Big Tom was my ride or die. So Big Tom's like, you don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And so I'm like, all right, man, all right. But you still got that feeling of like, you never know. It could be me. And if it is me, I just came all this way. I lost time with my mom to come out here for 3 days. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that was like the hard part for me. But on the other half, I was like, man, I think I'm safe. But God, if I ain't. Like, I even went out onto this one point. I climbed all the way out where the big hole in the rock was. Mm-hmm. All the way out to the front of that. And I sat for like 45 minutes. And the camera guy packed all his gear out there and finally got out there right when soon I was getting up and coming back. And I literally sat back down for that dude and sat for another 20 minutes because I felt bad because he made the climb and then I was just going to mess his shot up. But what I was thinking was, man, I'm going to take everything in while I can just in case and like just let it go and leave it in God's hands. You know what I'm saying? But it turned out I stayed.
So you stay and the rest of the game, this follows you. This gigantic target is on you.
I know.
And you make it super far. How do you minimize that, or do you just kind of own it? Like where was your strategy moving forward with that?
Well, from as soon as they started saying my name, my thing is like, I was on. Like when I get nervous, I even tell more jokes. I become even more funny. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how I deal with that stuff. So in those first few days, I was on like a 20. You know what I'm saying? And like me and Tom feed off each other so well as far as like comedy stuff. And after that happened, I started being like, man, I need to cut some of this back and not be so out there or whatever. So I started, and then I became like, whatever you say, hey, it's me and you. I don't know how many people I told this. I was like, yo, it's me and you, Phil, to the end. Like, I'm with you 100%. You're I'm going to do whatever's best for us. And then I said, listen, I'm telling you, I'm with you. I'll do whatever you want. It's me and you. I don't really care about you. Like, I started doing that to anybody and everybody that would sit down and have a conversation with me. So I think that helped me as far as like with Missy, because then Missy started viewing me and then I also was, if I tried to talk strategy with Missy, she was so super heady and like she would be 25 steps ahead. And I couldn't think like that. I wanted to play like in the moment, maybe a couple steps ahead, but that's it. I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. Whereas Missy's like, if we vote this person out and then their cousin comes back we do that. And I'm like, what? So I started being like, well, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. And so she would get frustrated and not want to strategize with me because I didn't want to strategize the way she was. And she wouldn't listen anyway. Four of us, me, Missy, Elizabeth, and Aaron would be standing in a circle talking. And it'd be me and Elizabeth across from each other and Aaron and Missy on these sides. And they would just be going back and forth, bouncing this idea and that idea. And I would go, and it would get shut down. And then Elizabeth would just be like, and then I would look at Elizabeth and we would go, look at each other. And then when we got away from them, I was like, yo, they wouldn't listen to nothing we had to say. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of just learned how to just fall in the background a little bit. And like, there were super strong personalities on my tribe. Missy and Aaron are like, they're cream of the crop in things they do. So they're automatically going to push themselves to the front. And in situations like that, especially with egos and personalities like that, you just got to learn to step back. And that's what I try to do. And it worked. Like it got to where, I guess me telling Missy that I was with her so much and then her thinking, maybe I wasn't strategizing as much as she thought I was, that I was like another charisma to her. I was a vote that she had. Yeah. And that's where I wanted to be, because if she feels I'm a vote with her, you know what I mean? Then she's going to keep me because she's, you know what I'm saying? That was my reasoning for playing the shenanigans and doing the shit that I done.
And with how much trouble you were in right off the bat, you end up really sticking around. Sorry, not to distract you, Elaine. We're having a conversation.
Tommy, we haven't even gotten to the tribe.
Listen, he's an attention whore, bro. Get off. Your 15 minutes is up, bro.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. He tells me he's too busy. It's like, Tommy, when are you gonna come on? When are you gonna come on? Oh, I'm busy. And then here he is.
I have $1 million.
It's like busy. Every time I go live, he tries to jump on my live stream because he's trying to followers, I guess.
That's what he's doing on a Sunday night.
All I wanted to say was it's like whatever you did worked clearly, because you go from being a target and then you don't get votes at that first tribal, but your name goes away to the point where your tribe loses 2 of the next 3 challenges. Yeah. And you don't get any votes.
Yeah. And I think that it goes along with me taking a back seat and I kept pushing loyalty because that's the only thing I had to give, is because I do consider myself a loyal person. So I was like, I'm with you. Like, I want to go to the end with you. Whatever's best for me and you. It was mainly me, Elizabeth, and Missy when I would say that, and me and Elizabeth were a lot closer than what Missy thought we were. And so me and Elizabeth would actually strategize together and try to figure out how we could get these super strong personalities to listen to what us little old common folk, wanted to do. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of not wanting to push too much, but trying to push, and it just not. I don't know, man. When you're in that situation, it's rough. It really is rough. It's hard to negotiate.
And it's like you're being. Everybody's saying she's such a threat because of who you are, but then you're also being underestimated at the same time. So it's such a weird situation where you're not being looked at as this huge threat, but they're still looking at you as a threat.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that, because it's like, yo, on day 1, you're telling me we can win. I can win day 39. Mm-hmm. But in the same sense, like when we go into a challenge and they're like, Well, I remember, like I said, when I tell a story, somebody that was on the island's going to tell it different because it's just my perspective. It doesn't mean it's 100. But from my perspective, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Well, you guys probably remember the puzzle whenever I said 25 times, this isn't right. This is wrong. This is not the right piece. What'd they say? Put it in, Elaine. And they just wouldn't listen. Yeah, just, and I was right. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they wouldn't listen. And I don't know if it's they just dismissed me because I wasn't the athletes they were. And so they thought like strategizing as far as like competitions and stuff were concerned, like mine wasn't as much as theirs, but I tell everybody, I was like, 20 years ago, I was an athlete too. I played softball in college. I was on the judo team in college. Like I'm a badass, you know what I mean? Yeah, I made a put on a couple extra biscuits here and there, you know what I'm saying? And put on a couple weights. But I'm a competitor too, man. And like I go balls out just as much as anybody else. It's just, I don't know. I just got pegged as I was a social threat, but like they didn't want to listen to nothing else I had to say. We had fights over the fire. And listen, I built more fire than probably anybody in the history of mankind being redneck.
Whoa.
It's just like they just wasn't trying to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So it was weird. It was a weird situation for sure.
And then you're talking about being like competitor, like all that. Were you starting to get bummed when some of like the smaller, like it goes Ronnie, Vince, Chelsea from your tribe? Were you bummed when it was like Vince and Chelsea go back to back? Because you did vote for both of them. But was that kind of you felt your hand was being forced and you're just happy it wasn't you, or were you really done with
both? We'll step back. The Ronnie thing, it was me versus him, and I came out on top. You know what I mean? He helped me out with that because other people felt shady, felt that he was shady or whatever. When it went to the Vince's thing, the thing that happened with Vince is like Tom and Vince hardly ever talked. The only time he talked was whenever Vince was pitching strategy to the guys, which I knew about because Vince was with the girls. And listen, Vince is one of my people. He's part of my community. Me and him clicked right away. We were like, I like Vince, like we just had, I don't know, you call it whatever. We just had a bond. Well, he never talked to Tom. And Tom, I love the dude. That's my right-hand guy still right now. So like, I wanted the two of them to work together. And they did for a split second, for a hot take. And what happened was after that first tribal, I don't know who told Tom. Somebody told Tom that I went looking for an idol, which is completely true. I did. But because we went to tribal council, we got put in lockdown. When I came back to camp, I didn't have time to tell Tom about it. Well, the next day, Vince goes to Island of the Idols, or whenever it was he went. He goes to the Island of the Idols. And me and Tom actually squashed the beef that we had because he actually started throwing my name out. Big Tom's like, yo, if she's going to look for idols and do this, that, and the other, and I'm supposed to trust her, like, okay, let's get her ass out of here. Especially after that tribal, me talking like I did and this, and this. Well, when me and Tom got together, I told him, I was like, yo, I was going to tell you, like, you can trust me. And we squashed it. Like, Tom's like, okay, it was just a misunderstanding. I didn't have time to tell him. It was cool. When Vince came back, like, Vince was telling me, he's like, yo, Tom's throwing your name out there. We can't trust Tom. Like, we need to go after Tom. Like, Vince had my back. But what he didn't know is that me and Tom fixed it. So when he came back from Island of the Idols, I didn't have time to get Tom and Vince back on the same page. So when it was a mad scramble with who's going home and this, and this, Vince was just throwing Tom's name out. Tom's got to go. Tom's got to go. It was always us and the girls. It could never just be me and Vince. And I was like, man. And so the girls like, all right, Elaine, like when we got away from the boys, it's like, all right, well, Vince has got to go or Tom's got to go. You got to decide. And like when it came to that, there were some people that didn't trust Vince, mainly the guys. Didn't trust Vince, and I think Chelsea didn't. I think it was Chelsea. One or two of the girls didn't trust him. And so when I was thinking about it, I was like, all right, everybody trusts Tom. Everybody likes Tom, and Tom is my rock. So I went with Tom for the simple fact that outweighed Vince. You know what I mean? His collateral was a couple people didn't trust him. I didn't want to hitch myself to a wagon that or sinking ship, so to speak. You know what I mean? So like I chose Tom over Vince, even though I didn't want to vote Vince out either. And I just like Tom at the time, I wanted to vote Karishma because she wasn't helping us.
And that's what I was going to say, because then Karishma ends up getting 3 votes there, but it seems like you could have maybe, with how close you were with people, put the votes to Karishma, or did nobody wanted to hear it?
Well, we always split the votes because everybody was always afraid of an idol, and Karishma was typically the second vote. But, you know, you got Aaron and Missy who were wanting to drag Karishma to the end as a GOAT, so they were never going to vote her. So whenever the rest of us, like me, Chelsea, Dean, Tom, whoever would push for Charisma to go, they always push back. And when you have, Missy and Aaron being such strong personalities as they are, when they get heated or they get passionate about something, it could be a little intimidating. So I think people didn't want to push back because they didn't want the wrath to turn against them. And that was what happened to me when the Chelsea thing came up. I didn't want to vote Chelsea. There was like a little girls thing going on. And, I don't know if I can say it or not, but we would tell Tom, I'd be like, yo, Tom, we're going down the water. We're going to wash our tits. Don't come down here. So the girls would go in the water and, we would bathe and do this, that, and the other, and we would talk. And I had actually told Chelsea, I was like, I don't know what Missy's talking about. Missy had said that her and Aaron didn't talk, this, that, and the other. Me and Tom used to sit and talk about, it's their tribe. They're running things. We need to figure out how to get rid of them. We need to try to figure out how to pull people in because they're taking over the show. So in Missy's mind, she's not talking to Aaron, but all I ever see is Missy, Aaron, Elizabeth hanging out. So I was like, man, be right there. So during those times, like when me and Chelsea would get by ourselves, I'd be like, yo, Chels, you see how close these people are, right? You see how close Missy and Elizabeth is. You see how close Missy, Elizabeth, and Aaron are. You know what I mean? Like me and you should look out for each other. And she's like, yeah, we should. And we should, meatballs got to look after meatballs,
the meatball alliance.
Yeah. So what happened, and I tell you what happened with that is there was a lot of stuff. There was one day, I don't know, there was a bunch of stuff going on, a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And me and her have argued about this and argued. There was one time, and all it takes is one time. I told her this. I asked Chelsea to go get wood. I was like, yo, Chelsea, you want to go get wood? Everybody knows that's code for let's go talk. Everybody knows that. I was like, Chelsea, you want to go get wood? And she's like, yeah, let me, yeah. And she I call it him haul. She him hauled. And I was like, okay, I'll wait a minute. So I waited about 5 minutes and I was like, yo, Chelsea, you want to go get wood? And she's like, yeah, I'm just, yeah. And she him hauled again. And I was like, okay, to me, what that told me is like, this bitch ain't trying to talk to me, and if people ain't talking with you, they're talking about you. So that made me paranoid. So then I started thinking, I was like, man, here you see Elizabeth and Missy out in the water, Aaron out in the water fishing. And then Chelsea went and had a conversation with them. And then I tried to talk to Chelsea afterwards. She's not trying to talk to me. That I'm one step further back. I just bumped myself one step back in my mind. So after Aaron, and let's set this up. So Aaron comes to me in the woods. And mind you, after the first one of them trying to get me out and stuff, like I was being a little passive. I was nervous and sketched about everybody. I felt I was on the outs. I can see little cliques forming. Me and Tom would talk and you could see Aaron and Missy and Elizabeth were tight. You could see Dean and Chelsea a little tight. There was no romantic, nothing, nowhere. That's all.
Don't lie to us, Elaine. You don't need to lie.
It wasn't. I promise, dude. I promise it wasn't. And I think they slept together maybe twice. You know what I mean? I slept with Elizabeth every single night. And then after Elizabeth was voted out, it was me, Elizabeth, and Nora. And then after Elizabeth voted out, it was me and Nora. You know what I mean? Like I slept with more people than she did.
I just want to,
Elaine, this is a family-friendly podcast.
Yeah, I want to throw in that. I want to throw in what Elaine is implying here. Everybody's sleeping with everybody is what Elaine is saying. And sleeping with somebody twice is not romantic.
My woman, she would have murdered everybody on the show if that was the case. She is not having it.
I'm excited for all three of us to rewatch this in video form because Elaine is saying it and Phil and I are like, oh God.
I'm just staring at Alexa.
Okay, so listen, maybe I'm not the best at podcasts with illustrating what I'm talking about.
When
we would sleep at night. When we would sleep at night. You know what I mean? Like they only slept at night together to keep each other warm, like once or twice. And then it got blown into something that it wasn't. Anyway, so like you had all these people clicking up and you could totally see. So I felt on the outs. Well, Aaron met me in the woods one day. And after we lost the challenge and stuff, and he's like, listen, Elaine, had his toothpick. Had his toothpick. And like, he was like, I want to vote out Dean because I'm in a 5-person alliance with Elizabeth, Missy, Dean, and Chelsea. And I want to prove my allegiance to you and Big Tom and vote Dean out. And when he told me that, I was like, how does that prove anything? Like, you're showing me that you're backstabbing your buddy. You know what I mean? Like, that's not proving nothing to me. And so I was like, listen, I don't want to do anything without Big Tom. He wanted to do it behind Big Tom's back. He's like, yo, I want to vote this guy out. Don't want to tell Tom about it. It's just me, you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, I'm not doing anything without Big Tom, because I'd already had the misstep with him about the idol. I didn't tell him, so I wasn't leaving him out of the loop on nothing. And he's like, all right, well, you talk to Tom and get back to me. I was like, all right. Well, I walk around the corner and Elizabeth runs into me. So I didn't get back to Tom. Elizabeth runs into me. So me and her go on the beat. And she's like, what is going on? They're wanting to vote out Dean. Like, what? And I was like, this is nuts. It needs to be Karishma because I don't trust her. She's going to flip on us. And me and Elizabeth were completely 100 on board. Well, meanwhile, Aaron's off talking to Big Tom. So I come up from the beach. I run into Big Tom. He's like, let's go get water. So we walk to the well. And he's like, yeah, Aaron just filled me in. He's like, I'm down to vote Dean out. Let's do this. And I was like, what? Wait. He's like, yeah, Aaron said you was on board. I'm on board. Let's do it. And I'm like, Tom. I was like, I told Aaron I was not doing anything without you. But, I wanted to talk to you and me and you discuss, But Aaron beat me to the punch and went and told my guy shit. So that pissed me off. And I was like, I'm not doing what Aaron wants to do. I don't care. Like, I'm not sending Dean home. Dean's cool. Like, I like Dean. Like, why can't we send Karishma home? I don't understand. Well, I didn't know that they were secretly like wanting to take Karishma to the end and this, and this. So they were like blasting her in public and all. I didn't know all that. You know what I mean? So like, it didn't make sense to me why we wouldn't vote Karishma. When I left Tom, I told Tom, I was like, no, we're not doing what Aaron wants to do. We're not doing it. Karishma's going home. I go back to camp and Missy grabs me. She's like, Elaine, let's go to the beach. So we go down there. It's me, her, and Elizabeth. We're down there for like 45 minutes talking. And all Missy kept doing was talking about the advantages of voting out a girl, because the other tribe would know that there's not a girls' alliance if we voted out a girl. So my thing was vote out Karishma. And she's like, but, if you're not willing to give them Dean, we should vote out a girl. And it didn't matter what I said. Like, she had it in her mind that Chelsea was going home, that was the next best thing, because it gave Aaron half of what he wanted of getting rid of Dean and Chelsea. It appeased her mentality or whatever about the other tribe thinking that, there's this girls' alliance going strong. She didn't want people to think that, blah, blah, blah. And she was not voting out Karishma no matter what. So no matter what I said to her, because Karishma was the vote, no matter what I said to her, she would not listen. And even Elizabeth tried to get her to listen and she wouldn't. Elizabeth had to leave to go on a walk. And finally, after being down there for so long, I was like, here it is. I just found out they was in a 5-person alliance I wasn't a part of. They want to vote out one of their own. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I already bucked against the Dean thing. I didn't want to push back against the Chelsea thing because Missy can flip on a dime, dude. I'm not trying to flip her to my side and have her walk up and be like, yo, Chelsea, we should just vote out Elaine. You know what I mean?
You don't want to reject every single offer.
So I quit pushing for that. And because of that one time that Chelsea didn't go get wood with me, it made me feel sketched. I thought, well, maybe this won't be so bad for me. And I was like, all right. So I walked back up into camp. I went to every single person. I said, vote Chelsea, vote Chelsea, vote Chelsea. And Chelsea went home. But it was not the right move. It wasn't the right thing to do.
And what I was going to ask you is, so let's say you and Big Tom decide, all right, we're going to stick with Karishma. It makes it a 4-4 split because Dean and Chelsea are going to vote Karishma. You and Tom vote Karishma. Do you think that anybody on the other side would have flipped and voted Karishma? Because why are we going to bat for Karishma? Or do you think that they would have all stuck with Chelsea and all of a sudden you have this whole just shit on your hands of, are we going to have to draw rocks or is one of us going to have to flip? What do you think would have happened there?
I honestly, I don't know. And see, because Aaron and Missy refused to vote Karishma. And then what you guys didn't see is like Elizabeth done whatever Missy told her to do. Whatever she told her to do, that's what she done. And even though like she didn't want to vote Dean, if I didn't like go against it or whatever, and I agreed to it, Elizabeth would have voted Dean, even though she had a final vote. Because she's that kind of person. She just don't know how to say no. You know what I mean? Like she just didn't know how to tell Missy no. So I don't know what would have happened if, like if me and it would have been 4-3 though, wasn't it? With Aaron and Missy and Elizabeth voting Karishma?
No, and then Karishma would have also voted Chelsea, and then Tom, Chelsea, and Dean would have voted Chelsea. And I assume Dean's not going to vote for Chelsea, and obviously Chelsea's not going to vote for Chelsea.
It would have been 4. It would have been 4-4, but who wants to take that risk and pre-merge? Like, who wants to?
Well, do you think that there was any?
We'll get to that.
Yeah. I tell you what I should have done. I should have walked up in camp and I should have had a conversation with Chelsea, and I should have said, "Yo, Chelsea, Missy's coming at you." And me and hers talked about this too. The only reason why I didn't is because I was nervous. I seen how fast she turned on Chelsea. I didn't want her to turn on me. And I told Chelsea, I was like, after the game, I was like, I don't know if you would have believed me. Like, your 5-way alliance is coming after you after 2 days of being in it. Like, what? Like, that makes no sense. And she said, all you would have to do was tell me that you knew about it because it was a secret. And by telling me that, she had the idol. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I wish I would have known that then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish. But it is what it is. Like, I just went with it because I didn't want to put the target on myself for pushing back so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just went with it. I thought it was the wrong move, which Karishma was never truly with anybody. But you know what I'm saying? So it was what it was.
Would it ever have made sense to try to flip this onto Missy or Aaron or Elizabeth? Do you think Karishma would have been down to do that? And if you would have gotten wind of this, or did you just not have time, or you think that was never even a possibility?
I think if you had that conversation with Chelsea, it might have.
Yeah.
See, I think Chelsea would have been irate, and she probably would have wanted to go after Missy. And I don't know. I was just too nervous to even bring it up because, my neck's not even in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to figure out a way to do what's best for me. But I didn't want to put my neck on the line and risk something that early. You know what I'm saying? So I just went with it. I was like, fine, if that's what you want. And then, it was showing Missy that, I was with her. I was doing what she wanted. I was, again, I was in her pocket. So it helped me out in that sense too. So.
And it probably helps you when the swap hits, even though you're not with all three of them. I don't know if I just froze. I definitely just froze. But it probably helps you at the swap because you get all three of them. And despite the fact that you're probably not excited to be with Missy, Aaron, and Elizabeth, at least you're in their good graces, on their good side for a vote.
Yeah. Well, that was my thing. Is like, that's why I was like, yo, I'm going to do whatever's best for us. And that's part of the reason why I couldn't push back is because, like, this would be best for us. That's what she kept telling me. She's like, this is best for her. I knew it was best for her and not us as a whole, but I just couldn't. I just felt like I just couldn't push back more than I already did because of the very beginning of the game. If the beginning had went different, then maybe I'd have had more balls to do so. But yeah, I regretted that, dude. Like, Karishma, as soon as the swap happened, Karishma was gone. She was done. And she didn't do a whole lot around camp, and she wasn't super helpful in challenges. So to me, it wouldn't have been a big loss if she went home. And like Jeff said, whenever Ronnie got voted out, he's like, well, I guess the one thing you can learn from this is you can't play day 39 on day one. And I think that's what they done. They played a lot of the game too soon. You know what I mean? My grandpa used to call it counting your chickens before they hatch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
You put the cart before the horse. And I think that's what happened with them, but I mean, they played super aggressive. So
That's what I wrote. I wrote down in my notes here, a lot of people playing way too hard, way too early, because that's everything you've explained has been, got to get rid of Elaine because she could win at the end, but it's day one. Got to take Karishma to the end, but it's day one. Like, everybody always is thinking about that. And yeah, ideally you want to be able to take two goats to the end, or who you perceive as two goats to the end. But there's so many swaps. There's so many twists. There's a split at 11 where it's 6 and 5. Yeah. There's two people winning immunity sometimes, one person winning other times. There's times where you'll go to your own separate island and not even be eligible to be voted out. In the Julia Sokolowski, example from all the way back in 32. There's so many things that can happen in Survivor. Thinking about who you're going to take to the end on day one just feels excessive.
It's crazy. But see, that's why Survivor has become the game that it's become, because it was that. It used to be that. It was like, if you found your core in the very beginning, day 1, 2, or 3, bam, you're done. You're in the end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but then they started switching it up. They started doing everything you just said. They started doing these little swaps, doing this, that, and the other. So they make it, one, they make it more interesting, but two, they make you work for it, man. They make you, actually put time and put the work in. But that was my thing. It was, and people have said this is me being cocky myself, is like, no, I don't care who I'm with. Get me there. Just get me to the end. Set me with any two of these people. I mean, we can play any, mini, miny, mo if you want. Let's just go. And so I was playing like that. So I wasn't like, yo, I got to get him out because I can't beat him. I got to get this one out because I can't. I was like, yo, I'll go with anybody that's going to vote with me. Let's go. Let's do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a good strategy, though.
Yeah, that was my mindset going into it. I was like, yo, I'm just, and I told somebody else, I was like, yo, if you don't believe in yourself, then who's going to believe in you? And I just believed, and I got it in my head. I was like, yo, if I can make it to the end, then I got that check. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't worried about all that. I just knew it was going to be a struggle after day one of getting to the end. And I was right.
So yeah. So your mindset is, all right, I'm going to get to the end with whoever I can get with.
Mm-hmm.
You hit the swap and you're with Missy, Aaron, and Elizabeth. How do you feel about that?
Well, I actually felt good because it was 4-4, not because of the people that I was with so much. I mean, Aaron, I never liked Aaron. I love Aaron now. Like, Aaron's my dude. Like, I think he's a really great guy. He's a great dad. And he's just good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, like, I hated Aaron in the game because me and him was always at each other. And I didn't like him. I didn't like his arrogance, his cockiness, you know, like he goes into beast mode. You know what I'm saying? The typical jock shit up on your chest. And I was like, dude, come on, don't do that. You know, be humble. You know, I didn't like it. And so, like, seeing Aaron there, I was like, dang, I got to put up with this dude still. Like, what? I would have loved to have Big Tom. And then you throw him and Missy together. Well, like, they're on fire by themselves. I don't know. You watch their on roast, dude. They hype each other up in every single scenario. It's like, yo, you got chips, I got chips. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, they just straight hype each other up like all the time. So I was like, dang. The only thing I was glad about was having Elizabeth. Like, Elizabeth was my saving grace because even though I didn't show it, like, me and her were super close, and, like, you know, she would vent to me about the things Missy would do or the things Aaron would do. I was her sounding board and she was mine because we couldn't say it to them. You know, like, if we said something, they would just brush it off or blow us off or, you know, treat it as if it didn't freaking matter. So we would voice it to each other. So I was glad for that. But I knew that I couldn't trust Missy or Aaron. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, dang, the minute I hit the beach at the swap, you can ask Tommy, you can ask Lauren. Tommy's right. I did sleep with him about every night in the end. Me and him slept beside each other. And I curled up to them nasty old feet of that boys. And I would just talk and we would just BS. And, you know, I would have conversations with Lauren. And I would tell him, I'd be like, yo, I'm on the bottom of this. Mm-hmm. I'm not in this alliance. This is where I ended up. You know, I don't want to be in this. Like, I'm looking to go elsewhere. I'm looking for other avenues. Mm-hmm. So from the very beginning, I started doing that. And when I was doing that, Missy and them, I didn't know it at the time, but Missy and them were throwing me out on day one. They were like, yo, we'll vote Elaine. We'll vote Elaine. Yeah. I didn't know it, but in my mind, if, like, you go into that 4-4, who's the most dangerous person? The person that can beat you in immunity, right? Like, the person that can win immunity. It's not the person on day 39 like my tribe was playing. And both, I knew that, and that's what saved me. It's because they wasn't playing day 39 on day 20, whatever. You know what I mean? They were playing it like you should be playing it. And so in my mind, I was thinking, oh, they're going to for Missy and Aaron because they're the ones that are the strongest out of the four. And so that worked to my advantage. And then, you know, hugging up to Big Red at night, you know, twirling his hair and whispering in his ear, you know, that helped, you know what I'm saying? So it worked out in the sense of, like, it was 4-4 and it wasn't like full die roll where the numbers were off, because that would have been disaster, you know?
Yeah. So, but if you don't get the advantage that you end up getting from Island of the Idols, do you think you go home that night? Because it seemed like everybody was willing to just vote you out.
Well, in my mindset, no, I wasn't even nervous, bro. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was nervous when I was going into the challenge to get it. And
what was that like?
Dude, it was nerve-wracking. Listen, when I first went, let's talk about Island of the Idols first. Mm-hmm. When I first went to Island of the Idols, like, Rob didn't even get as far as it made it look like on TV. He just said, yo, Elaine, all right, let's go, Rob. And he's like, what? And I was like, he's like, you don't even know what I told you. You have no idea what I'm getting ready to. I don't care. Let's go. I come to do the damn thing, you know? So, like, I was on board for doing something to better whatever, to fix whatever, to help me later, whatever. And so when I came back to the island and I ran in, and Elizabeth came up to me and me and her started talking, I was like, she was relieved that I found it, because she knew that Missy and Aaron and her were throwing me under the bus. So she was actually glad that I got it. And because she didn't want to do it. Like I said before, like, she didn't want to do it, but she would have, because that's what they told her to do. So whenever I got it and I recruited her to help me out, I didn't want to tell Aaron and them then, because if I didn't get it, I figured it would blow up and throw me under the bus and this and this. So I wanted to wait until I actually got it. Well, going into the challenge, I had tucked my shirt in, and I came up with the master plan of I was going to take it and do like this, you know what I mean? And dump it in my shirt, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. The problem is whenever I go to do it, I had lost so much weight and my shirt was so big that when I went to shove it in my britches, like when I pulled my hand out, there was so much shirt back there, it just popped out too. I almost died. I almost had a heart attack, bro. I literally put my foot on it, slung it against the thing, and like back up, turned around. It was like so, dude, I'd done it so wrong. Every day
Did
that was
anyone even have an inkling that you were doing this?
No, not that I know of. No, they had no idea. I think they thought. I think Jason told me that he thought that I could have got something at the challenge, like maybe there was an advantage, like setting out. Maybe there was an advantage on the thing or whatever. But I don't know. They didn't know. They thought I could have got something, but they wasn't sure what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have no idea. And we lost that one and went to tribal that night.
That was the night you went.
Yeah, and then what you call it? Whenever we got back to camp, here's the thing. Like, whenever we lost that challenge, I think that the old Volkai had worked it out to where he's like, yo, y'all got the numbers. Y'all should win this. Or y'all should lose. You know what I mean? So I think when we lost that challenge, I think Lauren and Dan and Tommy were just like shook. Because in their mind, it's 4-4. They're gonna win because over there it's 5-3 Volkai. You know what I'm saying? When we lost that, I think they were pissed. So when we came back to camp, there was a lot of talk about like, oh, they're not throwing things like they didn't, you know. So I think that added. The reason why I bring that up is I think that them not throwing challenges added to the issues later on after the merge, the mistrust and stuff between old Volkai, and it started then. You know, so we lose, and there's a lot of talk. I was nervous, but I went to Aaron and them, and I was like, yo, we got to tell Aaron and them we got it, because if we don't tell them, they're going to flip. Straight up, they're going to flip. They're going to throw me under the bus. They're not throwing Elizabeth because that's their lackey. She's doing whatever they say. They're going to throw me out. So I went to them, and with the Aaron and them, like they made it look like, you know, that I was in danger from Aaron. But I never thought that Aaron would flip on me then when he knew I had the advantage, because we had power. And Aaron and Missy were all about power, and they were all about being in control and controlling things. So like, why would they flip on that when they could have when they had control? So I wasn't worried. So we go in the tribal council, and, you know, I'm like, yo, I got this thing in my redneck. This is going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And we get to tribal, and I pull out the advantage. And when I pull it out, they immediately start talking about me like I'm invisible. Like, right here, and they go, yo, she got an idol. And I was like, yo, I can hear you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not invisible. So like, they were talking about me like I wasn't there. And when I played that thing, I was like, oh, like these people are pissed. These people are so mad. Honestly, that was the hardest vote out for me. Like, that was the roughest one. Like, I cried when I come back to camp because I felt horrible. And man, I knew whenever Jason got voted out, like, you know, in the very beginning, I had the thought of like, I'm going home. I fought for this. This is a 20-year dream, whatever. And it made me emotional because of the, you know, everything. So when that happened, and I realized that was the exact same thing that was happening to Jason in the moment, just because of who I am, I felt for him. You know what I mean? And I apologized. Like, I told Lorna in chapel, I was like, yo, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to send this guy home and break his heart and crush his dreams. That's just not me. You know what I mean? Like, I felt terrible. And when we got back to camp, the same thing. Like, I felt horrible. And so everybody's talking about stuff and this, that, the other. And Aaron says, and this is when I knew that there was a lot of other shit going on that I didn't know. Is Aaron says, if anybody wants to know why I made my decision the way I made it. And I'm like,
it should have been clear, Aaron.
What? Why is he saying that? Like, what? I brought that up to Missy, and Missy was like, I don't know. That's interesting. Like, I didn't know that bitch was doing it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that made me super sketch. But after that, Lauren was heated. She was so mad and upset because they had been pitching, like, getting rid of me, coming together as new Volkai, and doing this, that, and the other. And they were heated. They was pretty pissed off. And by old Volkai not throwing challenges to take out our Lyro, like, that was the best thing that could have happened. Which I don't know why they did that. Like, the smart thing there is to lose. You know what I'm saying? That's the smart thing. So I don't know. They they helped us out, and they actually helped us out a few times. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna be mad about it.
Real quick, why Jason?
Honestly, well, for one, from day one, I'd started making relationships with Lauren and Tommy. You know, cutting up and joking. Me and Tommy slept in the hammock together every night, and I was just closer with them. And Dan, like me and Dan, had talked some, and I just felt like more comfortable with them. But I was cool with Jason, and see, me and him talked. Like Jason, listen, he didn't get a lot of credit, but that dude is a super smart dude. He's a good guy, and I should have like bonded with him more so because me and him were in the same position. We were both on the outs and we were working our way back in. You know what I mean? Like I should have used that. But Aaron and Missy came as like, Jason's gone. Jason's out of here. And I was like, Jason? And they're like, yeah. And it's because like I had been calling him Fishback from jump. And so they were like, yo, he's super smart. He's super strategic. Da, 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 da. And because they wanted Jason and because I had bonds with Lauren and Tommy for sure more, and Dan was just, I didn't care. It could have been Dan or Jason for me, and I would have been fine. But I didn't want Lauren or Tommy because I was trying to build a bond with them and build an alliance with them. Yeah. But it was basically because that's what Aaron and Missy were pushing. And so I'd try to give the bosses what they wanted, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta do.
It makes sense. I mean, what I'm realizing from this tell-all and then like looking at the cast, like who goes home when, it seems like the people who tried to make too many moves early end up going out early. And when you look at the final, even if you go back to Elizabeth, kind of, it's Elizabeth, Karishma, Elaine, Dan, Janet, Lauren, Tommy, Dean, and Nora. Nobody there was trying to take such control of the game and like doing it in such an not to like get on Jeff's case, and hopefully he never listens to this, but not to be like, hey, big moves aren't really the way to win. It seems like your cast, because we were saying this early on, everybody was trying to make huge moves and they kept getting caught trying to make those huge moves.
Yeah.
Really, it seems like the people who laid lower, you all let everybody else who was making the big moves put a target on their backs, get voted out, and then it's like, all right, now we have to actually decipher who's the biggest threat out of the 8 or 9 people remaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once all those big super heady people were out, like Missy and Aaron and Kelly was super smart and strategic. Like once all those people were gone, then it got down to, all right, now. And, you know, once you get in the 7 or 8 or whatever, you start actually thinking about the end. And that's my problem. Then that's when Elaine can win it in the end started like really biting me in the ass. And but yeah, that big movitis, man, it got a lot of people this season. Yeah. And because you think about it, like Kelly, whenever she played that for Jack. Okay, you go into that challenge. We should have lost that challenge because we were up 4-3. 4 Lyro against 3 Volkai. So we should have lost that challenge and we could have took out Tommy. Yep. You know what I mean? But because we're playing with a bunch of athletes who are type of people who don't like to lose at tiddlywinks, you know what I'm saying? Like people trying to throw shit. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we're not doing that. Plus, you know, Tommy, Dan, and Lauren damn sure didn't want to throw nothing.
Yep.
So like Kelly saves our ass, Lyro's ass, old Lyro. She saves our ass by doing that to Jack. Right. You know what I mean? Because we could have went down one more. But instead, Kelly trying to like think long term, you know what I mean? Like she's like, I got this idol, I gotta play it. Da, da, da. It's like my grandpa used to say about my money. He used to burn a hole in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
burned a hole in that girl's pocket, and she had to get rid of it. You know?
Yeah. If that idol didn't have an expiration date, that wouldn't have happened.
No, it bit her in the end. No, she'd have held on that thing. She'd have had it on day 295. You know what I'm saying? Like she'd have held on to it. But because of that pressure of like, oh, I got 2 days. I need to do something. I need to do this, that, and the other. And Jack was a good guy to take out if he wasn't in your alliance and if it wasn't a numbers game. And if, you know what I'm saying, that would have been a good move for later on. Yeah. But like, it just wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't the thing you needed to do right then, you know?
And what ends up happening there too is Jamal plays another idol. And now Volkai loses 2 idols in 1 tribal council. And though Kelly had to play hers at some point, Jamal didn't have to. And if she doesn't play hers for Dean goes home. Jamal still has an idol. Yeah. And Volkai, I mean, not that Volkai still had control for most of it. I mean, if you look at the end of the game, it's still 2 of the final, it was 5 of the final 7 were Volkai. Yeah. But this could have been even more dominant because it could have just been like, okay, Jamal knows he's going to go home. He's going to play his idol.
could have been a billion. You know what I mean? No,
Yeah.
and that's the truth. And see, that's what I was talking about. Like when they didn't throw those challenges and Lauren and Dan and Tommy started talking, it was like, yo, are we really in like with Volca people or like what's going on? Like they should be throwing this stuff. Like we should be knocking these people out and then coming back together. Like it was just like, so that accompanied with the Kelly move where, you know, so we're at the merge now, right? So so you get to the merge. Big Tom goes home during all this, that, and the other. And listen, when I lost Tom, I mourned because that was my dude. You know what I mean? Like I would have done anything for Tom. Like Tom was my guy. He's just good. He's a good dude. But anyway, so you get to the merge now. And when we get back together, you take into consideration, like, them not throwing challenges. It's like, that puts like, okay, that didn't work out the way it was supposed to. And then you add on top of that when the new Lyro came over, they decided amongst themselves I don't know who the genius was to come up with, but they decided amongst themselves that they wasn't going to tell anybody. They wasn't going to tell anybody that Kelly played an idol for Dean. They wasn't going to tell people that Jamal played an idol for Nora. They were just keeping their dirty laundry to themselves. Well, when you're coming back together like that, the first thing you should do is tell all. It should be a freaking tell-all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, this happened. We done this because of this. So you add that with the fact that they wasn't throwing challenges. So there's kind of like trust that's being broken. You know what I'm saying? And from Kelly and Jamal and Nora and Janet's standpoint, they didn't see it like that, obviously, because they made decisions that they did. But the trust was being broken. So when you go into the merge, you got old Volkai coming over, trying to click back up with new Volkai, and they want to take Lyro out. And, you know, Tommy told me, he's like, yo, I had a conversation with Kelly, and she told me she can't trust me. She doesn't trust me. And he's like, why would you say that to somebody? And I was like, I don't know, dude. Let's vote her ass out. You know, I'm like, we get it. Right? You know what I'm saying? And then you what?
She said she didn't trust Tommy or she didn't trust you?
No, Tommy and Kelly had a talk. And Kelly verbally told Tommy that she didn't trust him.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So when Tommy come back to because you know we were trying to, the new Volkai were trying to build a little alliance, you know, which didn't include Janet and Nora and Jamal and Kelly. It didn't include all of those. So whenever all these people get back together and you see everybody falling back in, this, that, and the other, the only thing I was hoping for was like shit get shook up, you know, and that's exactly what happened. And they started imploding from the inside. And the reason being is because of all these miscommunications is what they were. There was a miscommunication between Kelly and Tommy where Tommy walked away from that conversation thinking that Kelly didn't trust him.
Okay.
And then there was a miscommunication as far as like all the stuff they should have told about what happened on the, you know, how Jack went home, how this went down, that they kept from him. And then there was miscommunications with the fact that they were supposed to lose challenges to get rid of us, you know, to get rid of Lyro, that Jamal and all them were supposed to throw challenges until Karishma and Dean and Tom were gone. And then they get together and deal with it. Well, that didn't happen either. So all these things going on when they came in. The first thing that Dean said to us when he walked on the beach and he walked past us, he's like, yo, Kelly and Jamal and them's coming for Missy and Elizabeth. You guys are the first ones to go home. I can't talk now. We'll talk later. So that was like, oh shit, like, like this is getting ready to go down. And whenever you have all those things happening, it's like the perfect storm for something to go wrong as far as like the Volkai sticking together, the old Volkai sticking together. And that's exactly what went down. It was just like a perfect storm. And Lyro took advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we took advantage of the situation in the sense of like, they didn't trust each other for whatever reason. And so they were gunning at each other because they didn't trust each other and they were forgetting all about us. Yeah. And that's exactly what we wanted to happen. So it was like, I was glad that shit went down like that. But let's talk about like the big elephant in the room, like the whole Dan and Kelly thing. Like I didn't know the Dan and Kelly situation. I didn't know it. Like the only thing I knew was what I was being told, like from Dan. Dan's like, Kelly's a germaphobe. That's all I knew. So coming into that, I didn't know that there was all this stuff. You guys are seeing tons of shit that I had no idea was taking place. You know what I mean? So like going into that, it wasn't like us against Kelly because of the Dan and Kelly thing. I didn't even know it. It was us against old Volkai because old Volkai was trying to hook back up with, you know? Yeah. So for me, it was like, yo, like when me and Elizabeth had a conversation in the water and she was like, you know, I said, I'm going to go tell Dan. Well, that's how you play Survivor. I went and told Dan to solidify the fact that he was going to vote with new Vokai and not with old Vokai, because old Vokai was coming after him. You know, so there's all these things that was taking place that I just didn't know was going down. I didn't know the girls were exaggerating. I didn't have a conversation with Kelly other than me and Kelly had a conversation one time, and it was about strategy. She said, I can't work with you right now. I can work with you down the road. And I was in trouble right now. And so I told Kelly, and we talked about this after the game. I was like, yo, I wanted to work with Kelly. I really did. I was looking for any avenue other than the one I was on. And so, like, whenever she told me that, I was like, this bitch, like, I need help. Save me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You know, I was like, man. And she's like, me and her, it was miscommunication between me and her. She's like, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, we're going to figure this out. We just, you know, we're going to keep shit on the DL, whatever. But I didn't know all the behind the scenes stuff. All I knew is I couldn't trust Kelly. And Kelly was trying to come at some, and that's all I knew, dude. I didn't know all that other stuff. And so we go to tribal council, and when the votes go down, like, Kelly goes home. And, you know, she turns to Lauren and asks Lauren, she's like, yo, am I safe? And Lauren done her infamous,
Yeah.
You're good. Well, I remember that shit later on, and that's why I wasn't listening to nothing Lauren was telling me.
Yeah.
So, like, Kelly goes home, and we come back to camp. And listen, after that tribal, that was like some heat. Like, that was like some hot ass. That was some shit when we came back to tribal. And when Janet walked up, it didn't show it on camera, but when Janet walked up and she was like, I mean, Janet was going off, dude. Janet's got some fire in her ass, boy. She was giving it hell. And like, for the first 5 minutes, nobody said anything. Janet was just going off. She's like, does anybody want? I walked up to her. I said, Janet, I'll talk to you. And she said, Elaine, I don't have nothing to say to you, because I never had a conversation with Janet. I never went to Janet and said those things. I never, you know, me and Janet never talked on that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, never. And so it wasn't Elaine was pitching, hey, Dan's doing. No, I never felt that way with Dan. I never felt that. I wasn't never uncomfortable. So I didn't know that all that was going on. And Janet's like, yo, I don't have a problem with you. I want to talk to the girls. And I mean, they were screaming, yelling, carrying on, this, that, and the other. And for my alliance was telling me that Janet was lying. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I thought Janet was lying. You know, so that's why you flash forward to the Jamal, the Jamal tribal council. Like, I had no idea. Like, it was just, man, it was fucking nuts. Well, anyway, so sorry.
No,
so
you're fine. That's the best way to describe it.
That's probably the only way.
It was nuts. Like, when we came back and all that heat, like, people, it was like, yo, we need to just separate. I separated. I was like, this is not cool. Like, this is not good. And so, like, from my perspective, like, if my alliance and I go, I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's Janet? And they're like, she's lying. Janet's like, and I was like, oh, whoa, like, this is some crazy shit. So the next day, was it Jamal goes to the Island of the Idols?
Yeah, where he doesn't get to vote.
Yeah, so he goes to Island of the Idols. When he comes back, he gives that bullshit story. I told Dean 650 times that wasn't true. I said, boy, that is not true. It's not real. That shit is not real. He's like, but you think maybe? And I was like, Dean, it's not real. Like, come on. Well, I couldn't get him to listen to me. Like, him and Lauren, he was not listening to anything I was saying. I actually spilled the beans about Island of the Idols. So up until that point, Island of the Idols was a secret. Yeah, other than like a couple people, you know, like me and Elizabeth had talked, but people outside of the island didn't know, you know, that didn't go to the island. They didn't know that it was what it was. Yeah. When Dean wouldn't listen to me, I told him, I was like, it's Rob and Sandra. Rob and Sandra are there. That's not, you know, like he just, and well, my mistake is that Lauren was there, and Lauren went and she's like, oh my God, like, great impression. Listen, this is Lauren. She's like, Tommy, like, I know about Island of the Idols. Oh my God, I want to go. Like, so once I told Lauren, like, Lauren told everybody, you know, and it's like, damn it. So anyway, so when Jamal comes back, he goes to Aaron, and him and Aaron have a talk. And I didn't know this at the time. I found out later on. Because listen, there was a lot. I was not in on strategy shit. I was always on the outside of stuff. And I was the last person to find things out because I wasn't somebody that they were taking to the end. So it's like, oh, we'll use Elaine vote. You know what I'm saying? So I always found out shit last. And that's why, like, probably I didn't know the Kelly and Dan thing. I didn't know the Elizabeth and Missy thing because I didn't know. I always found out that. So anyway, I found out in Rhode Island when I go to Aaron's house that Jamal actually told him that he didn't have a vote. And I was like, oh my God, like, why?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell us that? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, dude, I said, Aaron, listen, if you would have told us that Jamal didn't have a vote, we go into that. What was it? It would have been Jamal's not voting, so it would have been 5-6, right? Lyra would have had 6.
There was 10 people left at that point.
Was it?
No, you're right. That was
10?
12. That was 12. So it would have been 5-6. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So Lyra would have had 6. Volkai would have had 5, and Jamal can't vote.
Yep.
Well, what we do in that situation is you use that no vote for us.
Yeah.
If he would have said, all right, Jamal don't have a vote, this is what we can do. We'll vote out Tommy. Or my thing was let's vote out Tommy, Dan, or Lauren. That's the big 3.
Yeah.
Tommy, Dan, or Lauren, one of them. So let's say we go for Tommy. If Jamal doesn't vote, all of Lyra votes for Tommy, and we tell Jamal that Volkai is voting for him. When the votes are read, Jamal sees that once again, his tribe has stabbed him in the back. He'll never go back.
Yeah.
He's on our side, and we have numbers. But Aaron didn't do that. Aaron kept that information to himself, and we all went in, and once again, we voted out a Volkai member, and Jamal goes home. And at that tribal was where Janet caught all this heat and all this hell. And it didn't show it on TV. Like in that tribal, I actually said to Janet, stuff. And she told me, which after the fact, she's like, listen, the things that you said to me, Elaine, like, you're what kept me in the game. So like in that moment, it looked like I just sat there and kept my mouth shut. But I am upset with myself that I didn't say more than just telling her I didn't want her to go home or whatever. Mm-hmm. After that tribal and Jamal goes home, like another bad night. It was a terrible night. And like, I'm still like in the mindset of like, Janet's lying. Like Janet, she's trying to blow Missy and Elizabeth's game up. Missy and Elizabeth's in my lines. Dan was in my lines. I didn't know about the Kelly thing. So like, to me, he wasn't a creeper. So I didn't know none of that stuff. So I was just trying to assure my alliance that we were cool. Like they're not breaking us up. Her lion's not going to split us up, blah, blah, blah. Then after that tribal that night, the next morning, I go to Janet, dude, because I feel terrible for Janet. That tribal was so rough. And I go to Janet the next day and I said, listen, Janet, I don't like the things that went down. I don't like the things that was said. I am with you 100%. You are not on the bottom. Let's vote these MFers out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not cool with that. Like, that's not. And me and Janet hugged, and I said, Janet, you know me, like me and Janet's a lot of the same people. You know what I'm saying? Like she's me in 20 years. So like in that moment, like she knew I was being real, and she knew I was like with her telling the truth. And she told me after the game, she's like, yo, when all that happened and all of it aired on TV, and I didn't post no apologies or say nothing. I called Janet and I called her. Because to me in that situation, they were the only people that mattered. It didn't matter if I was getting blasted. None of that shit matters, man. The only thing that mattered was how they felt and the things they were going through. So I called them and I was like, man, I'm sorry. They're like, Elaine, you got nothing to apologize for, because that's the thing is like, they know what I was and wasn't a part of. Mm-hmm. They know what I knew or didn't know. You know what I'm saying? They know a lot of the stuff I found out from Kelly at Ponderosa. Yeah. When she told me, she's like, yo, this, and I'm like, what? Like, Kelly, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So like, all that stuff was just like out of control, crazy. And like me and Janet, like I told her, I was like, yo, we're good. Like Aaron came at her hot, but Aaron came from a spot of he didn't know either. Aaron knew less than I did, so he was just like speaking out of turn and didn't know that that's what he was doing. And like I said, Aaron's a good dude, man. He really is. So like the next day we tell Janet all that. And then who goes to the next one?
Well, then it was the split. Because that's what I was going to say. Is this part of the reason why you vote for Missy?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So the split. So here it is. You have all these 2 heated tribals that just happened. And like, I didn't like how stuff went. And I was already separated from my alliance anyway, in a sense. And I was just grasping for straws and other places and other avenues to go. So I go to Janet the next day and I was like, look, let's vote their asses out of here. I don't like what they've done. I don't like how they talk to you. I don't appreciate it. And listen, I'm with you. So whenever they split, and the challenges right before or whatever, Aaron's winning immunities. I swear he's King Kong in it. You know what I'm like? I don't know. He's doing crazy shit. So it's like, yo, be humble, bro. Don't do that. You already got a target. Don't do that. And just from doing that, and then, there was talks, like I said, I'd been sleeping with at night with Tommy and kicking it with Lauren. And so I was saying, look, first chance I get, I'm getting rid of these people. Like, I'm looking to move forward with you guys. Like, so all these things are taking place, and it all like comes to a head when the tribes are split.
Yeah.
And when the tribes are split, Aaron's put on the other side. I'm put on the side with Missy and Tommy. And I knew Aaron was going home. I don't know how Aaron didn't know he was, but I knew Aaron was going home. And because of all the conversations that was had leading up to that, I knew Missy was going home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just knew. I was like, this is it. This is the chance. This is the opportunity right here. And I know everybody thinks that that's the spot that, like, I killed myself, but it really wasn't, bro. It wasn't. I mean, you can tell me what you think, but I don't think so.
So you don't regret not voting out Tommy there and keeping Missy? Or
no, I don't. I tell you why. Okay. With Missy and that whole thing, I knew Aaron was going home. So when Missy comes back, Missy's only got Elizabeth. Missy doesn't have anybody else. When she comes back, after me telling Tommy and Lauren that these are not my people, I'm not with me telling Janet, yo, I'm done with this, blah, blah, blah. Me saying all those things, I walked back into camp with Missy. See, there's another thing too. So before all that started happening, right when the merge first happened, or when the swap first happened, Missy started telling me, she's like, yo, we got to split Tommy and Lauren up, because if we get rid of Tommy, Lauren will come to me, and that pulls her closer to me, right? And to me, I was thinking, well, why would I want to do that and pull somebody closer to you? It bumps me back one.
Yeah.
So in her mind, getting rid of Tommy benefited her game. So, okay, in my mind, we go into that tribal. I walk back into camp with Missy beside of me and not Tommy. Lauren's vengeance is like, Elaine, you're dead. You're done to me. You said this, this, and this. And she turns against me. Missy has nobody but Elizabeth. What do you think Missy's going to do? She's going to pull Lauren in. She's going to, put her arms around her. And the same thing she done to Aaron when we blindsided Aaron. When Aaron got blindsided and we came back to camp, Missy coddled him. She's like, no. And then from then on, it was kind of like she was spending the rest of the time proving to Aaron that she was with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? She wanted to give him Dean. She wanted to do this, that, and the other. So in this instance, if I would have done that, she would have totally used that against me, and I would have been gone the next one or two, because I was never part of her final plans anyway. Yeah. So by getting rid of Tommy, I gave myself a window that I didn't have before. Like, I was dead men walking with Missy. Like, there's no way I come out of that any better than the place I finished. There's no way. Like, I just don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
no. And I mean, it's kind of like you're between the rock and the hard place. It's like, what are you going to do here? It's you get rid of Missy, and then, like you said, now Tommy goes on to win the game, and that's twice that you were there when you could have gotten rid of Tommy, and instead you get rid of somebody else, and Tommy goes on to win. But knowing Tommy's going to win makes it a lot easier to question that. Or you get rid of Tommy, and then you still get 7th place anyway, because now everybody's just gunning for you because you didn't stick true to your word, and now you've kind of gone to the level that everybody was at the night before, when there's that huge blow up after the Jamal.
Yeah. Well, see, now the reason why I say it was the right move, and that wasn't the thing that killed me, is because I had opportunities after that to correct my sinking ship, and I fumbled. I dropped the ball. You know what I mean? Like, if I win that immunity against Lauren goes home, changes the game. Yep. If I win that immunity where Dean beats me out with like 1 second left, Dean goes home, changes the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Dean would have kept his mouth shut, and I could have kept my idol in a pocket, and we vote Tommy out, Tommy goes home, changes the game. Yep. So, like, that one particular move, I don't think was my downfall. I think it gave me an opportunity to fight another day, whereas Missy, my days were numbered. You know what I'm saying? That was my reasoning.
Well, and it's easy to amplify one move because everybody wants to point at, why did Elaine lose? Well, it was this one moment. It's like an entire game of Survivor. Everything's going to build to you getting to that moment anyway. And then, there's 100 million different ways it can go.
You being on the same tribe as Ronnie, that was it.
Yeah. You could have started off on Vokai, and it doesn't matter.
Dude, if I was on Vokai, I would have been golden, but they still probably would have cut my throat. But it would have been a lot better for sure. Yeah. But yeah, you can change like one decision, one thing, like the Jamal thing. If Jamal tells me that he's got no vote, dude, I'm using that to get Jamal on my side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we all knew that Jamal was going home. Everybody knew Jamal was going. So like we used that to get him on our side and get rid of one of the big three, you know? But that's not how it went. You know what I mean? Okay, I tell you what I think my biggest mistake was. So Charisma finds an idol.
Mm-hmm.
Charisma tells no one about her idol. Charisma screws over everybody that votes for her, and she saves herself for one travel and goes home the next.
Yep.
That's the biggest mistake. And the reason being is that if Charisma could have trusted me enough to tell me, and me and her talked about this, she should have had nothing to lose. There was nothing to lose by telling anybody you have an idol. You're playing it. You're saving your ass. The only thing you do is you take away votes that would have been for you and voted for somebody else. You know what I mean? So if she tells me about the idol, it doesn't benefit me by telling other people. So like if she could have told me, I could have told Elizabeth, I could have told Dean, who had a final two with Elizabeth. So maybe he would have do that. You know, and me and Dean trusted each other. He was always about running with the numbers and stuff. So maybe if we could have shown him that, hey, Volkai's getting ready to be down in numbers, you might want to run with Lyro, then maybe he would have went with, I still would have been cut, but maybe he would have went with Elizabeth or Ishma because they would have been the two goats he could have went with there. Mm-hmm. So if she told me about the thing, then we could have voted out Tommy or Dan or whoever, and she could have saved it. You know what I mean? Like we could have switched it. So
you
my
make sure it's not one of your own going.
Yeah, and made sure it wasn't one of us. And then live to fight another day. And then okay, you take out Tommy. Well, Lauren's wounded. He's not as close to anybody else other than me. So there, I can pull Lauren in because Lauren's scared to be heard next. So I'm like, oh, Lauren, come with us. You know what I mean? And like, it would have been totally different. It's just you can change one thing, and the whole game switches up, and everybody thinks they're right. That's the funny part.
Yeah,
everybody's right.
But you are right, right?
I'm always right, man. Well, yeah. Listen, no, there's a lot of people. Listen,
that's what I like to hear.
I'm not one of those players that's like flashy, crazy, whatever. Like I just try to be loyal, just be, you know, I try not to lie, whatever. I have a hard time faking it.
Yeah.
And there were some people that came in hot as hell. Like Missy played one hot ass game. You know what I'm saying? Like she was so strategic and came in so hot. She had an amazing game. Like I heard her podcast with you guys. You know, she's the greatest survivor to ever live. You know what I mean? But you know, she played fantastic for 27 days. And somebody should have told her it was a 39-day game. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I know. So, yes, you know, she played great. But she didn't play great enough to get to the end. And people can be mad with Tommy winning all they want. You know what I mean? Like, he done what he done, and he got the $1 million. So there ain't a lot any of the rest of us can say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody needs to figure out how they're going to play the game going in. And I think everybody's under the assumption you need to make the huge moves in order to win. And when you really go back and look at seasons, the winners aren't people who make huge moves. I mean, look at even in a classic example, Dom versus Wendell. Wendell beat Dom at the end of that game. Like it just shows like you don't like Wendell had to make some huge moves in order to get the votes that he got at the end, but it wasn't the type of game that Missy was trying to play. Everybody's trying to play the Tony game.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants to play.
Well, it's not a sustainable game.
No, I just wanted to get to the end. And then once I got to the seats, and then I can look around at who's sitting with me and be like, all right, now let me figure out in this 24 hours how I can pitch my case to sell myself the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how you do it. Don't worry about so much who's right here and right here. You know what I mean? Like if you can make those moves for that to happen where you get to the end with people that you know you can beat, that's fantastic. Don't shoot yourself in the foot to guarantee yourself a free goat right along. And that's what Missy done. That's what Aaron done. Mm-hmm. You know, Aaron, they shot themselves in the foot to save Karishma so many times when she was never with them. She was just like me. She was looking for another avenue and another venue to get to the end and do what she had to do, you know. And listen, if Karishma got to the end, she might have caught some votes, dude. I'm just saying, you know.
After that idol play, I was like, oh my God, she's gonna win.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing though. Like she would have been smarter if she would have told somebody about it and try to, because what you want to do is you want to try to set yourself up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just focus. If you got the idol in your pocket, don't just focus on this one. You know what I mean? Like, do the best case scenario that helps you more. You know what I'm saying? And I think she just focused on right then. she put that shit on blast though. She burned us all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was, she blocked, how many votes was it? Like 7?
Yeah, it was a lot.
And that hadn't happened in a long time, right? That was like a hot minute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, good for Karishma for doing that. But what did it do for her? She was always going to be the next. You see what I mean? So I don't understand why she just didn't come out and say, "Yo, I got this idol. We should do something. Let's try to build some trust." That's my fault too, because I told everybody, I was like, I didn't like Karishma in the game because Karishma didn't work. Mm-hmm. And I'm blue collar and I work and I do this, that, and the other. And if I'm getting firewood and building, listen, we have 4 shelters on Volkai. 4. We had 3 on the beach and 1 up camp. You know what I mean? At Old Lyra, we built 3. Yeah. It's like, damn, we was building shit. It's like, dude, you want to tear this down and build it again? Okay, we'll do that. It's like, and she didn't build any. You know what I mean? So like that constant not ever doing anything, like that just irked me. Mm-hmm. And that she complained a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, this chick. But my problem, what I should have done is, even though she was on the outs, because I was on the outs too, even though she was on the outs, I still should have had combos, which I talked to her, but I still should have strategized with her. And I should have built some trust. And I was just scared of, like I said before about Vince, hitching my cart to a dying horse. I just didn't want to throw myself out there with somebody that was a sinking ship. But I should have put the effort in, and then maybe she would have felt more comfortable, like, telling me that stuff. So that's partly my fault. I can't put it all on her.
I have 2 quick questions. One's about Karishma, one's about Tommy. I'm going to go backwards real quick. Karishma cutting her hand. Talk to us about that.
Okay, listen.
I want to hear. I'm trying to piece together what everyone's saying.
Karishma is a house cat, and so everything is more than it is. You know what I'm saying? Everything's more than it is. It's like the rain's falling harder over here. Like it's more than what it really is. When she cut her hand, I wasn't in even camp. I wasn't there. Missy wasn't there. Elizabeth wasn't there. The 3 of us were at the well, and I'm pretty sure Big Tom was down on the bank. Now, only thing I know about who was there is, Chelsea told me, she's like, when she cut her hand, she fell to the ground, and they were like, yo, Karishma, asking about her, and production said, give her space. So that's what they done. They gave her space. When I waddled my big behind back into camp, and they told me that Karishma cut her hand, I walked straight over to the tree. And I said, yo, Karishma, are you okay? Is your hand all right? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And the doctor was bandaging her up, putting a Band-Aid on. So I walked back over to camp. I ate my rice. And the way they cut that and spliced that, it was for more dramatics. You know what I'm saying? It was proving a point that, yes, Karishma was on the outs. These people are treating her a certain way, which, don't get me wrong. In the beginning, I still stand true to what I said way back when I done my interview with Dalton Ross, that I don't think Karishma was bullied. What I think happened with Karishma is that she was on the outs. She couldn't figure out how not to be. And because she was on the outs, she started isolating herself more. You know what I mean? And so it compounded everything. And Karishma owns her shit. You know what I'm saying? So like in that moment though, they made it and portrayed it more dramatic than it was. It's a TV show, man. They got a job to do. You know what I mean? I don't fault them for none of that. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I won't speak for nobody else. I'm going to speak for little old busted can of biscuits. Missing here and walk to the tree and ask Karishma. I was like, yo, are you okay? And I checked on her. So like, other than that, like, what can I say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Second question. So we spoke to Nora, and she mentioned that Tommy was incredibly lazy. Can you confirm or deny this?
Big Red didn't do nothing. That boy he didn't strike a lick of nothing. I swear to God. Like, he might pick something up once in a blue moon or whatever, but no. Big Red, he didn't do nothing. So yes, Nora is absolutely correct. The funny part is that Nora would wait on him and cater to him, and Lauren didn't do shit either. And I don't know. No, I don't know who it was that said. I think it was Aaron. When he done Bryce's podcast, he said, there was 2 blankets and 2 pillows and how 12 10, 11 people, whatever, and Lauren slept with the pillow and blanket every single night, and nobody ever said anything.
Yeah.
So that said something about her game because nobody was calling her out and jerking covers off of her at night and shit. You know what I mean? So like, no, Tommy didn't do nothing. That boy, listen, he probably would have died if somebody didn't feed him. Nora was feeding that boy all the time. Listen, did I tell you the story about Nora in the coconuts?
No.
Listen,
Please.
she was listen, this bitch is the queen of coconuts. I'm just telling you. She would she would open 25 coconuts. I mean, just chopping them up, talking about this ex-old man, that ex-old man, this boyfriend, that boyfriend. 2 hours later, she's got 25, 50 coconuts sitting on the table, and she would open them all up. She would go down on the beach, do her yoga, roll in the sand, and Dean would walk into camp. And me and Dean was always tidying up. Dean's an odd guy. He likes to pick things up. Most boys don't do that, but Dean does. So Dean would come into camp, and we were straightening shit up. You know, I would pick stuff off the ground and move it over, this, that, and the other, because you got camera guys running the ground, you know, around and shit. And I was always worried about them flipping and flopping over this. So I was always tidying shit up. So me and Dean would go and Dean would be like, where's all these coconuts? Like, are these good? You know what I mean? Are these good coconuts? And I was like, yeah, Nora just got done opening them. Nora, as soon as we get done talking, Nora would walk back up in camp, pick every one of those coconuts up and throw them in the woods. She would throw every one of them away and proceed to open 25 more. It was her daily chore to open like 50 coconuts.
Don't just open.
She would just, because the reason is she would open so many, and there would be so many laying out that she would lose track which ones were good and which ones were bad.
Oh my God.
So she would just start chucking coconuts and then reopen coconuts. Bro, it was like coconut fist every day.
Oh my God.
She would open 75. And so you got Tommy like a little baby bird over there. I'm hungry, Nora. Like, give me some coconut. Yeah, that boy didn't do shit. He didn't do nothing.
So Karishma annoys you by doing nothing, and then you vote for Tommy to win $1 million, and you say he did nothing. What was so great about Tom? Somebody tell me what was so great about Tom.
Well, okay. Well, the difference is that Karishma didn't do anything, but it's not like she's strategizing. It's not like she was having like, you know, you're cutting up with her. I mean, I had conversations with her, but it's like she kind of isolated herself and pulled herself back. So like, and then it's like, you know, they would cook rice, and instead of cooking the rice herself, I mean, I think she did a couple times, but she would boss them and tell them how to do it. You know what I mean? So like, nobody wants to be told what to do, and especially when you're not doing anything. Like, you can't give me advice on shit because you ain't done shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Tommy didn't do that. Like, Tommy didn't do nothing, but he didn't tell you how to do shit. He didn't tell you how to open a coconut. He didn't tell you how to start the fire. He just sat there and you know, he cut up, laugh, and joke. It was just about the difference in between the social games. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a better social game. It worked out in the long run for him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, hey, I have to give Tommy a hard time as much as I can because he's the most boring guy. Yeah, and he's boring.
Like talking to Tommy, I feel like smacking you in the face.
But I'm more entertaining, right? Please tell me you can smack me in the face, but I'm more entertaining than Tommy.
No, see, I will say that. Like, and Tommy gets a lot of crap for being boring, but he's actually pretty funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's actually a lot funnier than what they showed on TV. But I don't want to give him too much credit because that boy's head's so damn big right now. Man,
oh, it's huge. It's huge. It doesn't fit through doorways. It's crazy. It's getting crazy.
It's nuts. Like, he's out of control with his ego right now. But his mom's put him in check. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gotten a lot of heat for being boring or not doing this and not doing that. And that's the thing about Survivor is, like, you don't see all the little behind the scenes stuff. I give you an example. Me and Nora, we used to sleep together in the shelter and keep each other warm. We used to cuddle at night and keep each other warm. And when we cuddled, I would be like, you need to make a move. So I was already like working. You know what I'm saying? I was already putting in time. And there's so many like little nuances of these different things that take place that actually contribute to the game that people don't even like, because it's not a big move. People don't count it as that. Tommy done a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like, he done a lot of those little bitty, itty bitty things that got him to where he's at. Man, I can't hate on that. Or any other ones are there for that matter. You know, Dean or Nor, you can't come at them for that, bro. I made it 35. It's a 39-day game, so I played like shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know.
Well, so, and then when you did get voted off, just to go back to when you actually do get voted off, the week 3 days before, you vote with the final four to get rid of Karishma.
Yeah.
And then everybody else votes Nora. And then the next vote, you go home. Did you feel like you were in a good spot when you got rid of Karishma with those final four, or you just knew your time was up if you didn't start winning challenges?
No, that's the family visit. That's why I try to that's why I try to do what I did. Like when they put it on TV like it was Nora and Dean, like Dean throwed out this idea. It wasn't Dean. When Nora was ranting and raving, I was like, yo, you need to ring that shit in because you're getting a little off topic. Let's bring it back. And I told her, I said, Nora, you're their bitch. And like I said, I have been whispering that in her ear for days. You do what they tell you to do. You know, you're their little minion. You do what they tell you to do. What have you done in this game, Nora? You got to have a resume. So whenever that moment took, that was my opportunity. That was the opportunity to be like, yo, this is what it is. Let's run this shit. And Nora was about it, but Dean blowed the whole situation up. And like, it was like, it was never going to happen because Dean's a sneaky bastard. That sneaky bastard. Like, that's why it never happened. Dean, I'm killing you, boy. Yeah, it wasn't going down, bro. We would have had him if it was if I had beat Lauren, then he would have been down to vote out Lauren. He would have been down for that. But when I lost that to her and I flipped the vote to Tommy, and I was like, yo, let's go Tommy, because we're running shit. Let's get rid of one of them, you know? Then he was like, he was him on. I'll tell you something else too, like Nora going back and forth with the numbers, putting the little coconuts on the ground and blah, blah, blah. And, trying to come up with these numbers in her head, whatever. That made him sketched. You know, he's like, she can't even count. Like, she can't even get this shit straight. Like, how am I going to trust her? You know what I mean? And then we go right before tribal and we're in lockdown. And I'm like, Dean, I'm nervous. Like, I was whispering to him. I was like, I'm so nervous. So I think like a combination of Nora being nuts, me telling him I'm nervous as shit, and then walking into it and him looking at the misfits that he's thrown together, getting ready to do some big shit. I think it was like, nah, I'm done with that. But it's up. So I did say in my exit press that they need to start setting women in the back row.
Yes.
I'm still sticking to that. If you go back and watch previous seasons, the only time they ever stick women in the back is they'll put one back there once in a blue moon. You know what I mean? Like I think Nora sat back there, Missy sat back there once or twice. Me, Janet, Lauren, I never sat in the front. I don't think Elizabeth ever. I mean, I always sat in the front. I don't think Elizabeth ever sat in the back. You know what I mean? If you just go back and watch seasons, like I think that's another little thing that contributes to how women always get beaten this shit.
Yeah, and I mean, we had the first time that was ever brought to our attention, we did the tell-all with Kellen, and she told us that. She's like, I was sitting in the front the night that I have to play those idols, and if you're sitting in the back, you can whisper, you can make eye contact that nobody else sees. I mean, it's almost like if you're sitting in the front, you don't even want to look at Jeff. You just want to turn around the entire time and just be staring at everybody's face.
Well, when he's talking behind my back, I knew there was some motion going on, and because we were trying to do something, I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be all sketched out about it or whatever. So I just tried to like pay attention to Jeff. He spit out a big word, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff.
That was
and then it's like, then I turn around and they were giving me the death stare, and I was like, what's going on?
I don't know what extrapolate means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, why can't we just use normal words, Jeff? Like, what are you trying to conclude from this, Elaine? Like, what's wrong with that word? Like, what are you drawing from this? Like, what's wrong with that? Yeah. Like, I think that kind of stuff going on at tribal. Like, I think he still probably would have said some shit or whatever. But him sitting in the front row, does he still do that? Like, you know what I mean? Does he still do that if he's sitting in the front row?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, maybe. But you can't say 100.
Yeah.
So give me the same opportunity. I got little legs. I was born like this. I was not gifted with the long limbs. Give me a big stump. Let me sit in the back. You know what I mean? Like, help me out. That's all.
Yeah, and it makes sense because he might be thinking at that time, I can tell Tommy this, and maybe Tommy he only tells who he wants to tell, and it doesn't blow up into a big thing. And he's trying to be like sneaky and at least get a read on how Tommy's going that you can't possibly do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a hindrance. So like, if he if he doesn't do that and is scared to even say anything, like we vote and maybe he just don't vote with us.
Yeah.
And it turns out different. But, you know, like telling him in the moment and telling him after the fact, like Nora was trying to do, you see what happened. Like he wasn't trusting anything Nora was telling him, you know? So it's like, I don't know. It's just my opinion, though, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough. So you end up going home that night. You clearly knew you were going home that night. I mean,
Yeah, I even flipped my cap around. I was like, yep, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I threw everything at him but the kitchen sink when I went home. You know what I mean? It's like I told Lauren and I told all of them. I was like, yo, Lauren, he's not taking you. Janet, they are not letting you get near fire. You know, like you're allowing Nora to take one of your spots, you know, and that's exactly what they done. They didn't know it in the moment, but in the end, that's exactly what they done. So like I told him everything I knew to tell him to try to get him, and then Jeff started with that, gave me my little swan song, and I knew it was the end after that. I was like,
Yeah.
So I just spilt my guts and said my truth and just walked out. You know what I mean?
I think we had Sunday on right after that, and she was like, see, that was the problem with Elaine the entire time, was what everything she said right there. If she says that at Final Tribal, she wins. And everybody knows we cannot let her be able to say that at Final Tribal.
Yeah.
Well, see, I try to keep, you know, my mom passed away 3 months before I went out. And I try to keep a lot of that stuff to myself. And but do you know how hard it is to keep like those emotions in check when you're playing a game like that and you're literally stripped down of everything? Like it's so hard not to include a big part of yourself like that. And so, you know, I told Elizabeth, and then I told Big Tom, and then when I got over, I told Missy, and then when I got over on the other tribe, like when the family visit came and Dean's mom came out, I lost it because that was hard for me to. And Jeff kept talking about a mother's love and, you know, mama this, and I was like, man, this is crazy. And Janet thought I was. I mean, I was emotional because it was family visit in general, but Janet thought I was crying because, you know, anticipation of my woman coming out. And I was like, Janet, my mom died. You know, this is like, man, you might as well split my heart open and stomp on it, you know? And then when my woman came out, and the kind of person I am, like, I'm strong for my girl, you know, I'm tough, this and this. But when my woman's crying, I'm like this. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know? So when I seen her bawling and crying, dude, it was over, you know what I mean? So it was just super emotional and super whatever. And I struggled with just sharing the story in general because I didn't want it to become a part of that.
Yeah.
I didn't want people to say, oh, Elaine's got this sob story. Let's get rid of her, because, you know, I'm more than just a sob story. You know what I mean? Like I'm more than that. And I didn't want that. And I think that was part of it, dude. I couldn't keep it to myself. I was going through too much, you know?
Right.
Yeah. No, and so then you get down. So after that happens, you get down to Final Six. And so you're out of the game. And who were you pulling for at that point? Like, were you pulling for Tommy the whole time, or what was going on there?
No. Well, when okay, we'll back up a minute. When Dan goes home, that happens. The incident that they're talking about that Dan goes home on actually happens after my immunity challenge.
Okay.
While I'm still in the game, and you know, and then I heard people say, well, they should have brought Elaine back. They should have done this, and this. And here's my answer to that. I should have saved my own ass. I shouldn't have had to depend on some technicality, some bullshit, some whatever to put me back in the game. You know what I mean? Like I had opportunities to save myself and to save my ass before that. So there ain't nobody that's on but me. You know what I mean? So Dan goes home, you get down to 5. And from my point of view is like, if Lauren gets to the end, that's my girl. Lauren's got it unlocked. I'm telling you, dude, she had it unlocked. She was running that shit. Like she told you, like whenever Elizabeth goes home, Freshman plays her idol, we're sitting in the shelter, and it's me, Tommy, Lauren, Dan, and I don't know if Dee's there or not, but Lauren's like, I think I'm going home, Tommy. I don't know. There's something about it. I just feel like I'm going to get votes. And he's like, Lauren, calm down. And she's like, no, Tommy, you don't understand. Like, I know. And so Dan's like, well, somebody was voting for Elizabeth. Who was it that voted for Elizabeth? Charisma and somebody else voted for Elizabeth, I think. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so he's like, Dan was like, well, we already Elizabeth's already getting votes, so it wouldn't fall back on you. And she's like, no, you don't understand, Tommy, no. And she literally kept going until Dan agreed to vote for Janet, because I know there was some misconception with that. That was my girl Lauren's idea. Like Lauren's like, yo, put votes on Janet. And my big dummy, I'm a dumbass, because I should have told Elizabeth to throw another vote on Janet. And then Janet would have went home. Elizabeth would have stayed. So I made so many mistakes that would have changed shit.
Yeah.
But if Lauren would have got to the end, because she was literally running the damn show, if she could have got to the end, she would have got my vote. But if it was like Lauren, Janet, and maybe Dean, I don't know. It would have been tough, but I wasn't voting for Tommy 100. You know what I'm saying? I was just trying to wait and see what happened.
Yeah.
And, if Lauren, I call her Nims. If Nims wins that fire challenge and she goes to that stretch in the end, dude, I think she's got it from me. But she might have caught a lot of heat. You know, I know some people were kind of pissed off at some of the things she had done. You know, like, because people get mad when you burn them. You know what I mean? Like, they get mad. So I don't know if other people would have voted for her, but she would have had my vote for sure. Would
you have ever gone for Dean or no?
I wanted to vote for Dean. I did. But when I sat back and thought about it, dude, like he played a good game for a week. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like he came on like in the last however many tribals, how many, like 3?
It was like 3 tribals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came on hot like that in 3 tribals. But other than that, like, what the boy do? Like, he got saved a bunch by a bunch of different people, and not because he had all this mad social game. You know, when I saved him in the beginning, like me and dude were just cool. It wasn't like we were best friends and he promised me this or that. It was just like we were cool. You know what I'm saying? So he just got lucky in a lot of aspects. So I don't know. I would have loved to have voted for him because he's last Lyro stand, and I think he thought that if he got there, because of that, he might have caught a few more. You know what I mean? But it just, for me, I just couldn't bring myself to do it because Tommy had played the game from day one. He come out the gate like playing super social. Dude, you've seen how big he is. He's 6 foot whatever. He calls it 6'4". Just get over yourself. But he's 6'4". You know what I mean? Like he's built. And he made himself small. He made himself less of a threat. Little old busted can of biscuits was more of a threat than big old Tommy. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So you got to be spitting some shit and spinning some tails in order to do that. So to me, I was like, man, he done what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, he did the damn thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Missy kept on saying that, like, a lot of the people who win look like Tommy, but they're like the shorter, less muscular version of Tommy. Yeah. Because a lot of times, like, the people who look, but I'm not trying to make his head any bigger. I'm just saying, like, a lot of times the winners aren't your most jacked guy out there, because that ends up being Aaron, who goes home early, or they're scared that Jack is going to go on an immunity run or something. Like, so he did have, like, he wasn't like an Adam Klein where he could just completely hide under the radar the entire time, because Adam Klein is like 5 feet tall.
Dude,
so,
I met him out in LA, and I seen him. I was like, yo, like, you're itty bitty like me. I love you.
Elaine was looking down at Adam. It was great.
Yeah, I was like, yo, Adam, what's up, man? I was like,
But it's interesting, though. Like, Tommy's huge, and that is normally the people who go home 12th, 11th, 10th, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And that's what he did. He had this huge target on his back. And even though he was still the same, listen, they didn't show it not for nothing, but even though he didn't win immunities, he was winning every reward. You know what I mean? He was killing it in the rewards. And so he won those rewards, and then he used them to his advantages. You know, I never got to pick for shit, but, like, you know, he picked the people to solidify things. And man, he just made all the right social and decisions that you can make, as far as I was concerned. And maybe it's not as flashy and as, like, you know, coming in hot type shit like Big Tony, but it's still, like, to me, it's respectable, you know, and like for other people to say they were more strategic and more this, that, and the other, if you were those things, you would have been there day 39 and you wasn't. You know what I mean? So I mean, me personally, like I don't try to come off hot like that. Like I'm gonna be pretty humble. Like I'm not the best at nothing, you know what I'm saying? But I do have confidence in myself and my capabilities. So I'm always going into every situation thinking, I'm about to crush. Even if I get my ass handed to me, I'd walk into fist fights like that. I'd be like, yo, I'm about to whoop this person's ass, whatever. And I've gotten my ass stomped. So it's just your mindset, you know what I'm saying? Like I just go into it and try to be like, yo, I'm gonna murder this and kill it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't try to be aggressive and super boasting my chest and doing all this. That's just not me. So people should show him a little respect. You know what I mean? Like he won the damn game. Like what are we gonna do?
And you say you're not the best at anything, but you're the best at giving Jeff shit, right?
Oh, I love giving Jeff shit. That's my dude. That's my guy right there. I love me some Jeff. Dude, I told him, I was like, yo, you're just a dude. Like, yeah, you Jeff Probst, but you know what? You just little Jeff. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just a guy, man. You're just a dude, and you ain't no different than me. You know what I'm saying? You got a mama, you got a daddy, you know what I mean? Like you the same. And so I just treated him like that. And like he busts my chops like my brothers would do, and I busted, give his shit right back to him. You know? So
people forget Jeff's like a Midwest guy.
Yeah, he's a Kansas boy, right?
Yeah, people forget that.
Yeah, when I did my casting thing and I did my Skype call, and he used to be a huge David Lee Roth fan. And so one of the best analogies, I told him an analogy. I was like, yo, this moment of me Skyping with you is like if you was 20 years old and you was in the front row of a David Lee Roth concert and he's like singing and he asked you to come on stage and sing with him. That moment is like equal to what I'm doing right now, and he's like, I love it,
He must have loved that.
Yeah, and so like, and he's a cusser, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you've ever heard the saying or not, but some of the most honest people, whatever, like realest motherfuckers you ever met is the ones that cuss the most.
Yeah.
And Jeff gets in them challenges, bro. Like he is so hyped. He's like, you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, Jeff. Yes.
Jeff.
I love Jeff, dude. Like he's just a dude, and he's right. Like me and him drinking beers, that'd be fantastic. Like I just think he's cool. You know what I'm saying? And he likes to give me shit, and I like to give it back. But a lot of the stuff he says is super funny. He's really witty,
Yeah.
And I'll give you props on that, Jeff. I didn't think he was that smart, buddy, but he's pretty smart. So like the shit he rips off is like, dang, I didn't even see that one coming.
He's
like
but you give it back to him. You're the only one who could keep up with him, Elaine.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what he said at the live show?
Oh, I remember. When he was
in the audience and Hunter, my youngin, he got to talk to him. He's like, yo, I'm coming for your job, Jeff, or something.
That was Hunter?
Yeah, that's Hunter.
Oh my God. That's
you remember
hilarious.
that when
Jeff got excited.
He said, hey, I'm Hunter. I'm Elaine's son. I'm trying to take your job, Jeff. And Jeff said something back to him, but I don't remember what it was. And then he turned to me and he said something to me. Remember I said, I got nothing for you?
Yeah, he said he was talking about how he's the fool who always gets rid of the cast so fast and he has to just introduce the next cast. And then he goes, but I still love all you, right? There's no love lost. And you said, I got nothing for you, Jeff.
Yeah, good. Dude, the crowd went wild. They loved
that. Went wild. That was like the greatest line that could have ever been said. And Jeff didn't have a response for that.
I shut him down on that one, but then he got me after the crowd died down a little bit. He got me back with the whole glad to see you dressed up, Elaine. Like that was the funniest shit. Yeah. I was like, Jeff, this is me dressed up, bro. Like I went shopping for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can just pull this out of my closet. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love Jeff. He's super funny, super cool.
Yeah,
and
that's so good.
I already told him, I was like, yo, I'll go back any day of the week. And then you just give me a call, I will go back. But I mean, we need to start screening a little better and doing a little better job because some of these people's crazy.
You want to list off all the crazies, Elaine, or are you going to keep that to yourself?
No, there's about 19 of them. So I don't.
Okay, there you go. Are you the only one? Are you the only one who isn't, or was Tommy the only one?
I'm the only normal person on the damn thing. That's why
everything Elaine said is right. I mean, she's the only one who's right on this season.
Well, now see, that's the thing though, is like you do all these specialist things. Do you guys ever go back and just watch them like in session and see and compare stories, or what do you guys do? Do you guys take notes on stuff? Like,
We
What
take
you
notes on it.
What I'll do, like for the Karishma question about Karishma cutting her hand, like I asked Missy that. I wanted to ask you that. You know, assuming we talk to Karishma, I'm totally asking her that. So for like those kind of things that I know were like strongly edited, I like to ask the same question to get just to see how the answers differ there.
The difference.
Yeah.
And then we'll take certain things like with from Jamal and Nora and Missy, and then we try to spin it and catch you stumbling. You know, we try to figure it out. So
I can't wait to hopefully talk to Tommy and hear about how lazy he is from the horse's mouth.
Dude's lazy. Listen, that's like, okay, like at Final Tribal, when we go into Final Tribal, like Nora caught a lot of heat, and I was surprised to see that Missy said, you know, a lot of people come in hot when she was the one that came in hot at her the most and came at her for like an hour. You know what I'm saying? And like, so from people's perspectives and how they see things, like they just see it from their view of this. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting to like compare it to other stories, and you know, everybody's got their little salt they add to shit and go on a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they want to spin things to make themselves look better or whatever. Like, I'll just tell you, like, I messed up. I made mistakes. I didn't make the right moves. I done shit wrong. But I don't think I played terrible. But I'm not the best damn Survivor player that ever lived either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. Like, but I'm all right with being me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to be nothing extra or anything more than myself. So, and if people ain't all right with that, then that's okay too. Like, everybody's got an opinion. That's like, when I caught hate for stuff or people come at me, like, I didn't block them or I didn't like delete their comments and like I would have conversations. I'd be like, yo, you can say whatever you want to say. You got an opinion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm just confident in who I am. So it's not like somebody calling me names or, you know, put me on the belly, you know, cover it up. Man, come on, man. You think I don't know I'm a little heavy like you out of mind, you know? So it's not like, don't let shit like that to me. And I'm not kind of like, I don't want to put people on blast and like call people out or whatever. Everybody that was on my season, they're good people. You know, good people make mistakes. We all made mistakes. We all messed up. Like, certain things weren't handled, certain, you know, whatever, like, but like, they're not terrible people. You know what I'm saying? They're not like horrible individuals. I mean, there's some I don't get along with, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. You're not going to get along with everybody. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, Alexa, why don't you ask her the question you always ask, and then we'll let Elaine get out of here.
I ask everyone the same question, so I'm going to end with this. So you get the call, or like you go through casting, all this stuff. You get the, okay, Elaine, you're on season 39. What do you do? How'd you prep?
Well, see, for me, it was different than it was everybody else, because when I got the call, I was in the hospital with my mom. She was on life support.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and well, I can tell you this. When they called me, I weighed 192 pounds. It was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. I was on a fork truck for 3 years, and I put on 50 pounds. And I had tried out in my 20s when I weighed 125. I could bench 160. I was in the best shape ever. Them some bitches didn't call me. Yeah. They wanted to wait until I was bust a can of biscuits to get me on the show. So when they called me and I was in the hospital, I was like, yo, I don't know. Like, my mom's on life support. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on. They wanted me to unplug her, but I chose not to. And like, so like, it was like they worked with me because I was in the hospital just to get my tape, because I went to open casting. So just to do my tape, just to like fill out my application, like everything, they worked with me. And then when it came to casting, like going to finals and stuff, it was actually going to bring me out in November. But Jeff put a stop to it. He's like, yo, why are we rushing to get her out here when she has so much going on? You know, she was getting better then, like keeping her on, you know, not taking her off life support. That was the right decision that me and my family had made. And she started getting better. She started coming back, and with this, that, and the other. So anyway, so I go in December, and I go out for casting or finals, and I come back. I think it was, I want to say the 5th. Jamal, Aaron, Karishma, Kelly, they're all at my finals.
Oh, wow.
And so I come back, and I think it was the 5th, December 5th, I want to say. And I go straight to my mom's. She had moved into another facility, and when I came in, they told me, they was like, yo, she's getting so strong. Cause the goal was always, I want her to get better so I can bring her home so I can take care of her. I want her to live with me, but because I work 12-hour days, 6-7 days a week, she has to be able to go to the bathroom, by herself. So even if that's just getting up and sitting on a porta potty and I clean it when I come home, whatever. So that was the goal. So when I came back from whatever and I got home or I went to see my mom, they were like, listen, she is getting so strong. Like, I know she's supposed to be long-term care, but I really think she'll be able to come home in a couple weeks. And I was like, man, this is like the best year ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it went from, don't know if she's going to make it. I need to think about quality over quantity to like, she's getting ready to come home. I just come back from casting. Like, I felt so good about my interviews and whatever. And it's like, I'm on the highest of highs. So I tell my mom, I was like, yo, I'll be back on Sunday. I'm going to go home. I'll be back on Sunday. Come up and see you. I go to see her on Sunday, and I actually hit a bridge running about 80 in my pickup truck. I hydroplane on snow. I wrecked my pickup truck. And so I didn't go see her. And I tell my girlfriend, I was like, get the truck situated. Got to get the insurance. I said, I'll go see her this weekend when you can go with me because, we're working. And my brother called me on a Wednesday, and her potassium bottomed out, and she had a heart attack. She died. And so I went from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. And then it became, they didn't know if I could go out because of my emotional state of mind. They were like, we need to make sure, because like everybody can talk trash about, the Survivor and stuff all they want, but they were good to me, and they were like, we need to make sure that you're going to be okay and that you're going to be able to make it through this, because this is a lot. And I'm telling you, it's a lot more mentally, physically tough than what you know what I mean? So like, they made sure I was good before I went. And once they let me know that, yo, you're going, because I was dealing with so much, I had quit smoking. That's the only thing I did do. Quit smoking when I came home in December. So whenever, and then after my birthday in January, which is tomorrow, after my birthday, I started smoking back. But once they told me I was going, I started going to CrossFit. I started eating better. I built little things. Yeah, Lauren says,
Lauren.
Nils, what's up? So yeah, I built like balance beams shit in the yard. I like made little games and stuff. I would pack a ping pong ball across these things. I'd done all these things, and I was going to CrossFit, and I lost 20 pounds before I ever went out. Nice. So I like put in some effort. I quit drinking Mountain Dew, which I got this around here. I quit drinking the Dew, and when I got on the plane, I quit smoking cold turkey. I had quit for a month, and then with all the stress of losing my mom and stuff, I started back. And then once I got on the plane, I quit smoking cold turkey, and I've smoked for 30 years. Wow. So when I got to the hotel in LA and they took my phone and I made my last phone call, I sat on the bed. I was like, I started having a panic attack, bro. I was like,
you haven't even left yet.
I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna freaking make it. I was like a crackhead, dude. I was like, oh my God. So I kind of just calmed myself down. I took a few breaths and I kind of just like refocused. And I swear on everything, I didn't think about smoking again until I was voted out and went to Ponderosa and got my first Corona. And then I was like, somebody give me a cigarette. And then that was it, bro. But I had to do like so much in such a small, because of my mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I couldn't really focus on like getting in shape and this and this, or because I was just so worried and so stressed. And so I drove an hour and a half north, every other day to go see her and sit with her and all this. And I couldn't focus. And I focused after she was gone. Because then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for us. Like everybody involved, my family, her. I'm going to do this for everybody involved, and I'm going to really put my effort. And I lost 20 pounds in a month, 2 months or something, a month. I lost 20 pounds in a month. I quit smoking cold turkey. It didn't bother me a lick. I lost another 25 on the island, and I made it to day 35. So come on, you know what I mean? Like it was one hell of a ride, bro. And I appreciate everything I got from it. And I went looking for more than $1 million, because sometimes in life you have to refocus, and you have to decide what's more important. Is it this fame you're chasing after, the mighty dollars you're chasing after? Like, what's more important, man? And for me, it was letting go of some shit and dealing with some things, and that was way more important. So Tommy got the check, but I got more in the damn check. You know what I'm saying? So That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
And Sia helped you out. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Love.
And then Sia come through at the end with $100,000. Listen, when that happened, bro, when he said, okay, 3 people's getting money, I was just, oh, that's awesome. Yay. That's awesome.
So
He said,
they tell you the number of people beforehand?
No,
they did it at the reunion, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff said, he's like, okay. Yeah, Jeff's like, and Sia decided to bless 3 people with a Christmas, whatever. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool, man. 3 people, that's awesome. He said Jamal. I was like, yo, Jamal, that's awesome, dude. 15. And then when he said my name, I thought, all right, man, I got 15. Like, what? And then he said 100. I was like,
your reaction to that was, why? Oh my God, I could cry.
Hey, listen, like, not for nothing, man. And I know there's millions of people out there that's got the same situation, been through the same thing. About 95% of us live check to check and live that blue collar life. I call it living the American dream. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself knee deep in debt and you fight your whole life to get out. Mm-hmm. Half of America is like that, over half. And so, like, nothing I'm going through or been through ain't something that somebody else ain't done. And I appreciate and, like, I respect, and I'm completely humbled, and I'm blown away by it in just in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that's absolutely amazing. And then not only to give me 100, but then turn around and give my girl Janet 100. It's like, damn, like, Sia, you're my best friend. Like, seriously, like, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Blowing it up. I love it.
Yeah, I when I did the Nerdtainment thing the other day, I told him, I was like, I rock a trailer, bro. And anytime you want to come to the KY and need a place to crash on this couch right over here is comfortable as shit, and she's more than welcome any day of the week as long as she wants to come. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get to meet her, and that's the only thing I was disappointed about. Is like, I'd love to hug her neck, man, and just thank her in person, because, like, I said a thank you on social media, but, like, to be able to, like, express it the way Elaine expresses it visually, where I can, like, use props and shit and be like, yo, see ya, you know what I mean? And just show her, dude, like, and just tell her in person. So maybe one day, though,
One day, right? I mean, yeah, she's been at a lot of the finales, but she wasn't at yours. But
yeah, listen, ours was
not
for nothing, man. Our season had a great cast, and and we had a lot of big characters, and I know there was a lot of heavy shit that went down on it. And first and foremost, like, the type of stuff that went down, it's stuff that people need to talk about anyway. Mm-hmm. I had met a lady at the finale, and she said, when that episode took place, my daughter turned to me, because she watched it with her daughter. She said, my daughter turned to me and asked me what that was. Mm-hmm. And for her to use that as, like, a talking point, and to like, use it as something to discuss something with her daughter that she needed to talk to her about anyway, that's cool. And like, say what you want, but in order to grow and move forward and learn, you have to go through the shit to come out on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And this, for me, is kind of what this season done. This season went through the shit. You know what I'm saying? But those that come after us, it's going to be different. It's going to be better. And we're all going to learn and grow. And just personally, like, I learned stuff from that. Like, just from a redneck standpoint, I didn't even know what the Me Too thing was, bro. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what, like, the times. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. And just talking to Kelly and I just learned stuff I didn't know. And for that, I'm grateful. If we're not willing to learn, grow, and move forward, then what kind of person are you? You know what I mean? Like, you need to check yourself. So I'm not saying that the shit went down should ever be forgotten about or whatever, and shit was messed up or whatever. And inappropriate touching is a big deal. So, like, it's just, if you're not willing to do those things, then, get out of here. You know what I mean? You got to be willing to move forward as a human. So
yeah, absolutely. And Elaine, the last 20 minutes of this podcast are like, we gotta, like, we'll just cut that and just put that out there.
Oh, you see why they wouldn't let me get to the end, right? Beautiful places.
You just changed everything for the, like, now the Survivor Specialist. It was before the last 20 minutes of Elaine's podcast, and now after the last 20 minutes of Elaine's podcast.
No, but if you think about it, like, anything you do in your life, and especially in moments like that, like, you can either take the good or you can take the bad. Well, my mentality is let's take the good and let's keep moving. Let's take it and learn. Let's run with it. Like, just by coming on with y'all, I didn't know how to get into this computer and do these things. I didn't know, but now I know. You know what I mean? Like y'all taught me something. So thank you, Phil and Alexa. I appreciate it, you know? So
You're welcome. And thank you,
So
Hunter,
cut
for making it go
that
smoothly.
part out of the podcast. Cut that part out. That was good.
Yeah, exactly. We can teach you how to get onto StreamYard.
yeah, I mean, I just don't do technology stuff. I'm trying to learn and teach myself a little bit. But you know, it's kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So, but I'm willing to learn. So that's cool too. So
that's how everybody has to be, not just about technology, but about everything.
yeah, take it and expand it, move it into something bigger. Let's think bigger here.
Yeah.
You know, outside the realm of Survivor Specialists, all podcasts in the nation. You know, let's go worldwide.
Yeah, but mainly us.
No, you, all of us. We could all do that. You know what I mean?
I agree. I totally agree. I love how this ended, Elaine. I love where this went. This was great. Of course, it was great. Everything was great. I was so excited to talk to you. I told you that at the finale. I couldn't believe when Elaine knew who we were. I was like, "There's no way." The characters like Elaine don't know.
I do want to give credit because Chelsea is one of you guys' biggest. Like Chelsea pushed you guys. She's like, "Yo, Phil and Alexa," and da, 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 da. And I was like, "All right, let me start digging a little bit and see what's up." But so Chelsea, my girl, who I love, she's big components like pushing you guys. So that's a big part of it.
Thanks,
so
Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea, and thanks a lot, Elaine, for voting out one of our biggest proponents.
Yeah, what the hell, Elaine?
Come on, I know.
Get out of here, Elaine. Who invited you?
I know, right? Get out of here with that. Unless I told you, I have a lot of I made a lot of mistakes, and my game is flawed from the top to the bottom. You know, and the only thing I can do is try to learn from those mistakes. And if Jeff Probst, Mr. Jeffy, give me a call. Like, holler at me.
If there's a second chances too, Elaine,
you'll be
want to start packing your bags.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to need all the pointers I can get because I don't know. I might have a rougher time second time than the first time.
You might have, that's true.
We will say this. There have been two people who have actively listened to us before they went out onto the show.
I know what you're getting ready to say.
It's Adam Klein and Tommy Sheehan. What do they both have in common, Elaine?
We not talk about that enough.
I knew you was getting ready to say that. So, I mean, this is true. It's true.
We're batting 100. And I don't care about the all-winner season. That doesn't count because it's like, I can't do anything about that. You know, now they've all listened to us, so somebody's going to lose. But these newbie players, the ones who listen to us before they go out there, 2 for 2. I'm just saying. Yeah,
but you know, there's so many components to that like it takes the right people, right gameplay, the right lack of gameplay. It just takes all the right moving parts for that one particular person to get to the end. And it just so happened to be my big boy, Big Red. And I call him Big Tree. Old Big Tree done it. He done the damn thing, man. I just wish it was me.
Oh my God,
Elaine,
Big Tree.
Thank you for putting Phil's ego back in its rightful place.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's the redhead thing, bro. Like redheads get out of control. It's like, and line you out real quick. Like it's the blue eyes start getting all something happens to y'all, and y'all need smack back in. Yeah, you need smack back to reality.
We just like to flex. It's no big deal.
Not for nothing, Phil. Like you're not much taller than Adam.
No,
like,
I'm not.
You're not much taller because you know when I talk to Red, my neck hurts.
Yeah,
you know
my neck hurts. No, I feel Tommy's too tall, Lane. That's the thing. There's a such thing as too tall, and Tommy's too tall. Don't tell him I said.
Yeah, I would tell him. I was like, "Yo, if I can get up there, I'm just gonna throat punch the shit out of you."
Yeah, exactly. You'd probably hit him like in the chest. I don't think he'd get that high. I mean, I can barely reach that high. He's too tall. But that's okay. Yeah, but
I thought, you know, like I thought just like Adam. I thought Adam was a lot taller than what he was. So
yeah,
I wish I looked taller on TV. Did I look taller on TV, or did you know I was a little?
I thought you were 6 feet. I really did.
Easy 6 feet.
Yeah, see, I was like, yo, I look so.
When Tommy lifted you up, I was like, she's 6'1", easy.
Yeah.
Oh, when Tommy carried me after my challenge win,
that was really cute.
Phil, you was at the live show. You see when I jumped in Tommy's arms?
I did.
Was that hilarious?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I can't believe they cut that from the edit. That would have been great.
I think you can kind of see it in the background, but they didn't give like
as I'm jumping. Yeah. They cut it out. Yeah. But yeah, the crowd loved that too. They thought that was amazing.
Elaine was pumping her hand up in the air as if she had just won.
I gotta rewatch that.
It was hilarious though.
I was
just listening. It was a good time. Like I had never been to nothing like that, and that being in that moment and just like living that dream and like just being there. It's like, wow, like I have thought of this for 20 years being on this stage and to actually be there, even though I wasn't winning, like to actually be there and have Jeff read the quotes and like, man, come on. Like that's just humble yourself and accept it for what it was. It was an amazing experience. I was blessed to be there and I just wanted to have as much fun and have as congratulations to Tommy, man, and everybody that was on our season, man. Like hopefully they take away something from it and learn a little something about themselves. And everybody that was on my cast, dude, it is what it is. Like I get along with those I get along with and don't with the ones I don't. So
well, there you go.
There we have it.
I think that's a great way to put a cap on it, Alexa.
I think so too. Elaine, any final words? Even though you just gave like a beautiful 25-minute opus.
Oh, wait, what's that word?
Yeah, it's the same meaning as extrapolate.
Oh wait, can I tell you this one story? So we were sitting on the beach one day and the sky looked crazy, right? And I don't know who quoted it, and I wish if somebody else knew they would tell it. But they said, "Oh man, the sky looks so ominous," and I'm like, "Ominous?" I said, "What the hell is ominous?" And I said, "Why can't you look at that sky? That shit looks crazy, like whatever." And so they were all laughing and cutting up, and they're like, "Yo, Elaine, spell that." And I said, "All right." I said, ALMONDIS. Ominous. So from then on, like anytime anything happened, there was like, "Yo, that's ominous,"
I love that.
I go to that challenge and I lose the immunity. And I was like, "Dean, I fucking had it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's ominous."
Yeah.
That's fucking ominous. And I throwed my shit.
That's amazing. I'm gonna start using that word. Like, there
was a lot of words that I would I would misspell, which most everybody knew I was just goofing around. I would misspell shit and this, that, and the other. But it was so funny because in the moment. Now, wait, I got one more and then I'll quit. So, and I don't know if Tommy told this story to anybody or not. And this actually puts me and makes me look at bounce. So we're all sitting around and we're talking, and I was half paying attention because when Nora starts talking, I kind of just zone out, And somehow the story got around, and Tommy was talking about letters, and he said, the only thing I heard, he said, "Yeah, we're doing away with letters. We're not using letters anymore." And I'm like, You're not using letters. Like, what the? I started going off. So I get on my soapbox for about 20 minutes. And I'm like, people, this technology is running our country. Children don't know nothing. How you write letters? Like, what the heck? How you going to spell? And they were like, "Elaine, letters, like paper letters that you mail. Letters."
Oh, no.
I thought they were talking about like letters, like A, B, C. When I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, is that what?" And we laughed for like 30 minutes, dude. And they still bust my chops about that. I told them, I said, "I only heard half of the conversation. I just heard the part about we're not using letters anymore." Well, when you tell a little old redneck Elaine who only uses like 3 that we ain't using them no more, I thought, man, this is bad for the children. I'm talking about the children.
Get off your damn soapbox.
Man, but listen, there were so many times during the season, different stories. Like the first days at Lyro, some of the best I've ever had. Like we laughed, we cut up, we told jokes. Almost got bit in the face by a shark. I got shark attack. Yeah, I got shark attack. Like I got this close to getting bit in the face by a shark. Aaron was in the water with me, and I was like, "Yo, Aaron, come check out the shark." And he was Scooby creeping out of the water, trying to get away from me. And he's like, "You redneck dummy, don't." And I was like, yeah, it came up after this thing came at my face. I throwed myself back in the water and was stabbing it with my spear and shit. Like I almost died. And like, I mean, there's just I faced charisma with a dead snake. I killed one of the poisonous snakes. Like there was just so many times when this cast was like off the chain, just fantastic.
Yeah.
And so many moments that a lot of people didn't see. And I always say I wish people would give us that side reel, that B reel of all that kind of stuff that they didn't air. Because I'm telling you, dude, that's TV gold. Aaron doing charades, playing Brokeback Mountain. Come on now. Who wouldn't want to see that?
I hope
I
that
want
what Survivor just announced for the 20th anniversary, they're doing like a special episode the week before the premiere of 40. I hope that whole thing is just bloopers from season 39.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Now, I will say this though: if you go to the CBS All Access, they have all those secret scenes and stuff that you can go watch. If you go to those, they have one on there. It's like Elaine plays dress up. That's the good version. I actually had Nora's bra on, and I pretended to be Nora. And that's the one. When I seen that Elaine plays dress up, I was like, "Oh no, my woman's gonna kill me! Like she's getting ready to see me in Nora's bra, acting a fool, talking about my boyfriend." Like,
I need to watch
man, it was like some amazing stuff, but they chose the softer, easier side of me acting like a hillbilly, which I was fine with. But I told my woman, so she didn't have none. I was scared, boy. I was like, "Yo, I'm getting ready to put stuff out here." But there's so many great times that we just you don't have in 43 minutes or whatever it is in an episode. You can't get to all of it and do the gameplay part. So
Yeah,
I would be fine watching 43 minutes of you running around in Nora's bra. I am fine watching that.
It was so like I was like, no, okay. There's they used to tell me like, "Yo, Elaine," they used to when I kissed Jeff, my team was pushing me. They was like, "Yo, kiss Jeff, kiss him, just do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, Well, there's another one. The very first challenge, I know you heard about the meow thing, bits and pieces of it. Well, what it was is because Jeff was missing. We were like, "Yo," we started on this. What happened to Jeff? I was like, "Yo, I think he quit, and Jerry Springer's taking over, and this, and this." Like we come up with all these scenarios. I was like, "Yo, when we finally meet him, what we are to do is a super trooper thing. We're to everything we are to say meow to everything." And so we would practice. And like in my little clip of the beginning thing, when you hear me saying nailed it, that's what it was. Is like, because I was like, okay, and after I say meow, everybody say meow. So we were practicing before we went to the challenge. So we go to the challenge, and Jeff actually calls on me. Now, I don't know if the producers like whispered to him and tell him who to call on, because my tribe was gassing me up to like do this. Like, yeah. So when Jeff calls on me, everybody's poking me and elbowing me. They're like, "Elaine, do it." And somehow, I don't know what it was I said, "I'm just ready to get going, right? Meow." And when I said meow, my whole tribe says meow. And Volkai looked at us like we were crazy. And Jeff was just stone-faced. He was He was stone-faced. He was like, he just turned to Volkai and started talking to Volkai. So we all just shut up. When we got back to camp, we laughed for like hours over that because he was pissed. We were just like quiet, like kids, like just trying to laugh. In one of those, man.
I cannot even imagine this.
Yeah, it was so fun, man. I had a blast. It was a good time, and you gotta take the good with the bad, and that's what I did. I took the good with the bad, and I would go again in the New York Minute if they allowed me to. I don't know if I would fare much better, but I would go and give it one hell of a shot because I don't know how much I'd be able to change who I am and adapt the way I need to adapt and become a snake or a liar. I don't know if I can do all that. It just
sounds like you shouldn't be meowing though.
No, that meow thing that did not go over well at all. But yeah, that's the thing is like, even though like Big Tom's like, "Yeah, I knew that he wasn't going to buy it." I said, "Why did you tell me to do it?"
Yeah.
It was so funny watching. And that's like kissing Jeff. They encourage me. They're like, "Do it, like do it." So and Jeff,
that they'll air every time.
Yeah, Jeff's a good sport though. Me and Jeff, we compete, so it's all good. It's a good time, man.
Yeah. It sounds like it. We're gonna have to get. I want to get Tommy to do the meow now. I want to hear his perception since he was on
Tommy was on Volkai, so I don't know if he actually participated in the meow on his side, but we done it at Old Lyro whenever in the very beginning of the game. It was before the very first challenge, actually.
Yeah. I just want to hear what his perspective would have been.
Because I don't even know if he remembers. Ask Lauren if you can get Nims on here. Yeah. Ask her because Lauren lost it. She's like, "I think they said meow."
They all just meowed at us.
It was confusing though.
It would have been so much better if they just meowed back. Oh man.
Oh, that's the thing. If you could have got them on board with it and had like a whole little thing, imagine how funny. Still, I don't know if Jeff's ever seen Super Troopers, so I don't know if he caught the joke or not. But he seemed like he was pretty pissed off about it. It was funny though. It was a good time. Yeah, ask Big Red about it and see. He probably don't remember. He's probably taking a nap in a hammock or some shit. I can sleep with that boy every night, and he's got some smelly old, nasty old feet. You know what I mean? But that's my guy, though. I love Tommy.
Well, Alexa, why don't you tell us right meow who we have coming up next?
There's no better way to end this than talking about Tommy's nasty feed. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
We
should not do any more tell-alls. We'll just end it with that. Tommy has nasty ass feet.
Tommy's got nasty ass feet.
We'll see y'all for 40.
Yeah.
Crybaby, big old crybaby, Tommy. Oh wait, listen. Tommy and me, we was actually both gonna propose to our women on the island, and me and Tommy, I actually made a ring, which my girlfriend wears still, and me and Tommy was both going to propose, and he came to me. He was like, yo, I was going to propose to my girl. Do you mind? And I was like, no, you go ahead. I don't feel right about it. And then he actually came back to me and was like, I don't feel right either. If you want to propose, you can propose to yours. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it either. And then I had them all come out in July, and Tommy, Lauren, Chelsea, Jack, Elizabeth, Kelly, they all came to my house in July and was a part of our engagement. And me and my girl's getting married on the 25th, September 25th of this year. And Dean's officiating. And
wow.
Jack and Jamal's going to sing. I think Basil's going to play guitar. And I'm going to let Tommy park the cars. So.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Tommy's
the janitor.
Make sure he's wearing the same suit he wore to finale night, and he's parking everybody's car.
Well, he told Rob that I was going to be his best man or something. He's like, yo, I think Elaine's wanting to be my best man. I told him, I was like, Tommy, the only spot you getting in mine is you're going to be parking cars out the back.
Well, make sure you get that on video, and we can put that out. You know,
Tommy, practice right meow.
You're right. We're going to practice right meow. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, that's so good.
That's funny.
All right. So speaking of Detective Dean, we will be talking to him this next Tuesday.
It's a little while.
A little while, yeah. We got a little week and a couple days talking to Dean Tuesday 21st at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We will ask him all about officiating your wedding. So
yeah, tell him. He FaceTimed me the other day, and I told him we was talking about things, but I don't know if he remembered. I dropped it on him, but he had been drinking a little bit, so
we'll make sure to remind him in case he forgets.
Yeah, definitely.
But Elaine, this was so much fun talking to you, and happy birthday. Happy almost birthday.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
36 minutes.
36 minutes, I'm going to be 29 all over again. Great.
That's it.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast.
Oh, I appreciate it. You guys are super cool. Anytime you want to come to the KY and hang out, you just holler. You can't drive the Razor because redheads can't drive, Phil. But Alexa, if you want to
I'll pick him up. I'll pick him up. I'll drive him.
She can get me. That's it.
Tommy got in it, dude. He almost flipped us. I made him pull over. I said, honey, you ain't driving this.
And he's the one who's parking cars at your wedding. I just want to say this out
That's
loud.
right. You're right. I got to find him a new job now. Dang it.
Yeah.
I just remembered that. You're right. He did. He almost flipped my Razor. Me, him, and Dean was riding together. He was driving like an idiot, and he was fishtailing, running about 80. And I was like, no, we will roll in a New York minute in this thing. Top heavy. I made him pull over, and I wouldn't let him drive. I let him ride my dirt bike, but I wouldn't let him ride the Razor no more. So you're right. He can't drive. He can't park cars.
That's it.
Be doing something else.
Do you have like bartender or something? Put him somewhere far away.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a broom and a mop.
There you go. Have to clean up.
Well, thanks, Elaine. This was great. And whenever I come to the KY, you'll know.
All right. Well, it's not that big, so I'm sure I can't miss it. That beaming red hair of yours.
Yeah, I know.
Which
is big.
Rudolph, honey. You can see you in the fog.
That's it. That is it. Bye, Elaine.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.